Chapter 1160. Do you know martial arts too? Looking at the pretty and generous Lu Wan, Wang Xiaoran was a little surprised. Yes, I'm your master senior. I learned a few moves from him. Lu Wan looked at the serious girl in front of her. If you don't mind, we can spar. After learning martial arts, Lu Wan became much more confident. Her body condition was good, and her martial arts training was smooth sailing. In addition to some private lessons from Li Fan, her true energy was stronger. I remember I've seen you somewhere, the fat guy muttered. It seems to be some news. Hey, aren't you the boss of FIFA Entertainment? The skinny guy suddenly realized, fuck, I like Shun Chun a lot. And Wulin Girl. Shin Chun is our artist, and Wulin Girl is your senior. Lu Wan smiled. FIFA Entertainment is your master's company. Fuck, the few of them were shocked. No wonder someone paid to kill Master. It seems that Master is really hateful. The skinny guy could not help but sigh. Who wants to kill Li Fan? Lu Wan immediately exploded when she heard this. This girl, who is usually gentle, was angry at this time. Her voice carried some anger, but it was somewhat impressive. The skinny guy shivered and quickly waved his hand. I don't know him. I only know he's called Boss Wong, but I guess it's a fake name. Lu Wan sat there, thinking for a moment, and soon came to a conclusion. Li Fan is from the Martial Arts Association. Li Fan was taken aback. How did you know? Before Lin Yuchisen left, she asked me to use Weibo's public opinion tactic to deal with those guys from the Martial Arts Association. But she also reminded me that this might make the Martial Arts Association want to deal with us. I thought about it carefully, and it should be so. Lin Yuchisen is a monster. Li Fan was finally convinced. This girl's IQ was not for nothing. Basically, there was nothing she couldn't calculate. This group of people is too sinister. Lu Xiaohu was furious. Master, I'm going out. I won't eat dinner tonight. Stop right there. Li Fan waved his hand, and the door of the dojo closed with a bang. Master, they're already bullying us. Why are we still sitting here? Lu Xiaohu was furious. I'm going to challenge them one by one and make sure they don't have a good New Year. It's New Year's Eve this year. We have to celebrate our New Year's Eve. There's no need to ruin it for them. Li Fan wasn't angry at all. It won't be too late to settle the score with them after the New Year. Then when does Master plan to settle the score? Lu Xiaohu was a little anxious. After the New Year, you will go to 3 dojos every day. Li Fan slowly took a sip of the tea in his cup. In less than a week, they will find us. I just can't take this lying down. Even Jiang, you didn't say anything. Why are you so impulsive? All right, sit down and do as your master says. Lu Wan also knew that there was no need to rush her revenge. She comforted Lu Xiaohu and then added another sentence for fear that he would be worried. Don't worry, your master is a wily old fox. Li Fan was a little speechless. Since when was he a wily old fox? All right, I'll listen to you. Lu Xiaohu had to nod his head in agreement and endure this anger for now. What are you worried about? Imperial concubine Zhou was happy and contented. Since the other party can hire these two, their IQ is probably only SOSO. Why worry? The fat and thin duo didn't know what to say. They just faintly felt that what this beautiful woman said was very reasonable. In Li Fan's dojo, the girls were all beautiful, especially the girl who was tuning the zither. She was as beautiful as a painting. The fat and thin duo were a little jealous, but they were also full of confidence for the future. As long as they practiced martial arts well, they would be accompanied by beautiful girls. Li Fan, I'm hungry. Dragon Girl finally came out of the room. The little girl rubbed her eyes as if she had just woken up. This girl now slept after eating and ate after waking up. She was living a carefree life. All right, it's getting late. Let's prepare for the New Year's Eve dinner. Li Fan said and turned on the TV in the living room. On Mango TV, Murong picked up the remote control and was about to switch to Mango TV. Don't change the channel. The Spring Festival Gala is about to begin. Li Fan hurriedly said, Who wants to watch the Spring Festival Gala? It's so boring. Or watch the Mango TV. They're all big stars. Murong AI giggled. There's also my male god. Who is your male god? Wang Han. Li Fan said, This girl likes uncles. I can't tell that she has a big uncle complex. Yes, yes. Watch Mango TV. My Korean dolls are here too. The dragon girl also sat on the sofa, happily. I want to watch the Spring Festival Gala. Lee Fan wanted to cry, but had no tears. Watching the Spring Festival Gala while eating dumplings was the habit of people from the Northeast. Don't quarrel. This consort will play a song for you. After saying that, Imperial Concubine Zhou finally began to play the zither. Dragon Girl was not interested at first, but after listening to 2 parts, she quickly turned off the TV. Imperial Concubine Zhou's zither was long and leisurely, as if a palace painting of the Ming Dynasty was unfolded in front of them. This outstanding zither skill and timbre made Li Fan think of Chung Mohan, that little girl from the Genie Guards. However, Imperial Concubine Zhou's zither had a kind of atmosphere, which was the portrayal of a strong expert. Even a few apprentices were dumbfounded. This martial arts school was really full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. There was actually such a powerful musician. After the song was finished, it lingered in the air. Everyone was still longing for more. Not bad. Li Fan broke the silence and took the lead to clap. Imperial Concubine Zhou, play another song. No. Imperial Concubine Zhou put away her zither. This consort only plays 1 song a year. Damn, what kind of rule is this? This is too awesome. All right, let's eat the New Year's Eve dinner. Serve the dishes. Imperial Concubine Zhou snapped her fingers. Her voice carried a penetrating power, directly entering the kitchen. Soon, the kitchen door was opened. One by one, the chefs came out from the inside, pushing a cart. On top of each cart, there was a sumptuous meal. Seeing this, Dragon Girl could only swallow her saliva. Li Fan thought for a moment. With this girl here, it seemed like it would not be a waste. Thank you everyone for accompanying me this year. Li Fan called everyone to sit around the table and then raised his wine cup. I, Li Fan, from an ordinary high school student, came to where I am today. It can be said that we are fated to meet each and every one of you. I hope that on this day next year, we can still gather here. I wish everyone a happy new year and a prosperous martial arts. I also wish brother-in-law to become the world's #1 as soon as possible. Murong loved to accompany Li Fan, so she was not lonely. She also raised her wine cup. After 3 rounds of wine and 5 different dishes, Lu Wan suddenly had a bright idea and thought of an idea. Drinking like this is boring. How about we play a drinking game? Chapter 1161. Drinking game? You even know how to play drinking game? Li Fan was a little surprised. This Lu Wan had always been well-behaved and generous. Why would she make such a bold move today? You seem to be thinking of dirty things. Lu Wan covered her mouth and chuckled. She immediately guessed Li Fan's thoughts. Drinking game can also be very elegant. Okay? That's right. The drinking game was invented by scholars. Wasn't it? Lu Xiao also remembered, when we had a gathering in junior high school, we also played this. You started drinking in junior high school? Jiang Yu was a little surprised as she looked at Lu Xiao. That's nothing. I even made my girlfriend Miss Scary in junior high school. The thin guy curled his lips and was violently beaten on the head by Wang Xiaoran. Scum. Io, senior sister. That's all in the past. The thin guy hurriedly explained. You need to teach them a lot. Li Fan said to Wang Xiaoran. You need to discipline your 2 junior brothers. Yes, master. I will definitely make them painfully repent. Wang Xiaoran's mouth revealed a faint smile. The thin guy shivered. The fat guy was already shedding tears of excitement. Damn, why are you so scared? The thin guy could not help but blame his partner for being disappointing. No, I haven't eaten such delicious dumplings for a long time. The fat guy wiped his tears, his mouth bulging, and said, Master, this is great. I don't want to leave anymore. It's just eating dumplings. Look at you. This dumpling is delicious. How could the dumplings made by a star chef taste bad? Li Fan turned his head and continued the previous topic. Say, what kind of drinking game do you want to play? Since we've already said that, why don't we play something more elegant first? Lu Wan suggested, how about everyone write a 5-word poem with the beginning and the end of the poem? Isn't this making things difficult for the 2 of us? The thin guy was not happy. Everyone, us brothers, only have junior high school education. I also have junior high school education. I didn't say anything. Li Xiaohu glared at him. Shut up. I have primary school education. Jiang Ye's words made the skinny man speechless. Damn, master, is this a gathering place for the illiterate? These 4 disciples were uncultured. Do you want me to live? A 5-word poem isn't difficult. Everyone just needs to improvise. There's no need to be so rigid. It's just a game anyway. Lu Wanner didn't mean to make things difficult for them, but she just wanted to stir up the atmosphere. Those who can't answer will be punished with a cup of wine. How about it? Because she knew that Li Fan was from the northeast, Imperial Consort Zhou specially asked someone to send a few boxes of Harbin 1900 beer from the northeast. After freezing it for a while, he took it out and tasted it. It was delicious when paired with dumplings. Imperial concubine Zhou also understood Li Fan. She knew that he was only interested in beer. Beer, that's fine. When the skinny man saw that it was beer, he felt more confident. He might not be able to compose poems, but he had no problem with drinking. Let your master start with the questions, then pass them down clockwise. Lu Wanner gently knocked on the bowl. Her eyes fell on Li Fan. Her eyes were as gentle as water. Li Fan, it's your turn. Sure. There's so many beauties today. Then, I will use beauties as the topic. Li Fan smiled. Although he was not a gifted scholar, he could still make up a poem. Beauties fill the hall. Li Fan shook his head and thought of a sentence. Going down clockwise, on Li Fan's left was Murong's love. The little lass thought for a while and came up with a sentence. Imperial concubine's wife. Imperial concubine Zhou was next to her. When she heard this sentence, she smiled sweetly. The wife beheads the foolish husband. On Imperial concubine Zhou's left was the skinny man. The skinny man was anxious and blurted out a sentence. Husband, quickly get on the bed. Everyone laughed. He once again received a solid punch from Wang Xiaoran. Fuck, am I wrong? Yes, but I just want to hit you. Wang Xiaoran angrily put down her fist. When it was her turn, she wanted to receive the bed. She blushed and thought for a while. 2 pairs of shoes under the bed. Senior sister, you're not that good. The skinny man complained, causing Wang Xiaoran to roll her eyes. The fatty really didn't know how to drink. He obediently drank a glass of beer. Jiang Yi sat there. Her posture was not as casual as the others. She was well-behaved like a lady from a noble family. When she heard the crooked poem reaching her ears, she immediately froze. 30 seconds to think. Li Xiaohu hurriedly clapped his hands. If you lose, you have to drink. Jiang Yi couldn't handle alcohol, but it was even more difficult for her to write a poem. For the first time, Jiang Ye's little face turned red. You can't take it anymore, right? You better go to school and learn more. Li Xiaohu was very proud. Xiaohu, as a senior brother, you can't bully your junior sister like this. Li Fan reminded him. That's right. If you can do it, then do it. Jiang Yi put down the glass, and her face became even redder. Ahem. Well, a double bed is better. What are you talking about? But I've met him, haven't I? Like a pair of lovebirds. A bird's-eye view of the 9 heavens. After the dragoness finished, Lu Wanner added the last line, and the poem was considered to have ended. Li Fan couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Good heavens, these 2 people really hit it well. Come, let's continue. The group of people seemed to be having fun and began to continue. Li Fanxiao didn't know what to say, so he drank a cup. After playing for a long time, Jiang Yi couldn't hold it in anymore. Let's play something else. I really can't do this. Don't. It's quite interesting. Li Xiaohu had never lost and was having fun. Then let's play something else. Lu Wanner was exceptionally smart and could tell that Jiang Yi was unhappy. Then let's play a fair game. What game? Li Fan was just having fun and didn't want to make things difficult for anyone. Thus, he followed Lu Wanner's words and decided to change to another game. In this game, everyone will ask a question and give an example. If the others meet the criteria, they cannot drink. If they don't, they have to drink. For example, if I say, I am a woman, then all the men present have to drink. Do you understand? Isn't this a Game of Thrones? Li Fan remembered that he seemed to have seen this game somewhere. Yes, you have seen it too. This seems to be quite fun. Lu Wanner was in high spirits. Let's play this game. This game, everyone has a chance to win. It's very fair. Okay, then let's play this game. Let me raise my glass first. Li Fan raises glass. I am not more than 100 years old. Hearing this, Imperial concubine Zhou and the dragoness both glared at him. The two beauties raised their glasses and drank the wine. Wang Xiaoran and the others were a little dumbfounded. Then are they more than 100 years old? Imperial concubine Zhou was a charming and mature woman, while the dragoness was a cute little Lolita. Both of them were more than 100 years old? That's impossible. Secret. The two answered in unison. Next question. It's my turn. Murong also raised her glass. Chapter 1162. Murong's first sentence was, "I'm still a virgin." Pooh! Luwan directly spurted out the mouthful of juice she just drank. This lass is too bold. Asking this kind of question. These women looked at each other, and finally, Imperial concubine Zhou and Luo raised their glasses at the same time. You want to drink too? Then let's toast. The two beauties awkwardly clinked their glasses. Murong loved to laugh. This girl is too naughty. Li Fan was particularly helpless, and the topic had already shifted to Imperial concubine Zhou. Imperial concubine Zhou picked up her glass and pondered for a moment. I have been an Imperial concubine before. Damn, Li Fan almost vomited blood. Damn, among so many people, only Imperial concubine Zhou had been an Imperial concubine before. This is too damn unfair. In modern society, it is impossible to be an Imperial concubine. The others helplessly raised their glasses, and several apprentices were a little confused. How could she have been an Imperial concubine before? Could it be that she had acted before? No matter what, they had never been an Imperial concubine before, so they could only obediently raise their glasses and drink. The next one was the skinny man. The skinny man seemed to have already thought of this, and he smiled. I have slept with my own teacher. Everyone was dumbfounded. Who the hell had done this before? The others raised their glasses, except for Li Fan. Li Fan was also in a dilemma. He and Liao Wushuang had indeed slept before, but this sleep depended on which meaning it was. They had never really done it, but sleeping or sleeping together. But this question had a layer of ambiguity, and he had no choice but to accept his fate. The skinny man gave a thumbs up. Master, you are amazing. Many women angrily looked at Li Fan and then drank their own wine. Li Fan also wanted to curse. How could he ask this question? But Lu Wan, and the others were smart women, so they would not investigate Li Fan thoroughly. My turn. Wang Xiaoran's question was a lot simpler, and it was also exclusive. I finished high school at the age of 16. This was truly unparalleled. Even Lin Yuhsn didn't skip a year and graduated with Li Fan. The others all raised their glasses and drank. Fatty chuckled and raised his glass. I've peeped on my friend and teacher sleeping. Everyone collapsed. Fuck you. Why didn't I know about this? The skinny man looked like he wanted to beat someone up. I couldn't help it. I was fishing at the water bubble when I saw you and teacher diving into the reed field. The fat guy said foolishly, at that time, I thought the teacher was going to beat you up. Just as I was about to help you, I saw you and the teacher with your big white buttocks. All right. The thin man quickly covered his mouth. The other women's faces turned red, and Wang Xiaoran even scolded him for being a pervert. I was imprisoned for 8 years. Jiang Ye's words made everyone kneel down. However, Imperial concubine Zhou only smiled and didn't say anything. These apprentices were all going crazy. Who were these people in this room? They were too fucking scary. How could they have experienced everything? Second senior sister didn't look old. She was imprisoned for 8 years. In other words, she just left the devil's den not long ago. Everyone increasingly felt that this dojo was unfathomable. For this question, Jiang Yi and Imperial concubine Zhou didn't drink. The others drank it in one gulp. I'm wanted by China and homeless. Lu Xiaohu raised his glass. I can't even go home to see. Well, regardless of whether you drink or not, I'll accompany you this glass. This time, even a Northeast duo became listless. The two of them had just joined the underworld and hadn't done anything bad yet. Their first mission was to kill Li Fan, and they failed. A few people present might agree with the other points. However, being wanted by China was something they had never done before. Imperial concubine Zhou also thought about it and put down her glass. Next was Dragon Girl. She raised her glass and casually said, "I haven't killed anyone." Dragon Girl had lived for thousands of years, but she really hadn't killed anyone. Although she didn't care about other people's lives, she wouldn't take the initiative to deprive others of their right to live. She didn't use her lifespan to win others. It was probably because she didn't like people saying she was old. Li Fan raised his glass. Not only him, but Imperial concubine Zhou, Morong, Jiang Yi, and Li Xiaohu also followed suit. A few apprentices trembled. Master and senior brothers, have they all killed people before? This question of yours has really stumped me. Li Fan smiled bitterly. Then should my next question say, I'm a 10,000 killer? Plop. The thin man directly sat on empty air and fell to the ground. I'm joking. Li Fan made up a lie. After all, the thin man and the others were just ordinary people and didn't know the evil of the martial arts world. Li Fan suddenly faintly felt that China's ban on martial arts seemed to be quite reasonable. Master, you scare me to death. The thin man was helped up by the fat man and sat back down. Aren't you known as the Northeast Killer King? How could you be scared by such a thing? I was just bragging a little. The thin man slightly blushed, killing one or two. I might barely do it. Killing so many, I really didn't think about it. Killing one person makes you a bandit. Killing 10,000 makes you a general. Killing 1 million makes you a king. A light flashed in Li Fan's eyes. What do you think? Don't joke around. Lu Wanner gently patted Li Fan's hand. Didn't you want to teach them well? Why did you mention this? Sorry, I was just joking. Li Fan didn't know why, but such a thought flashed in his mind. Don't take it seriously. Your master loves to joke like this. If he was really a bloodthirsty person, the two of you who wanted to kill him would already be dead. Lu Wanner's words, not knowing if it was a comfort or a threat, made the fat and thin duo even more afraid. Hee, two cowards. Morong loved to laugh at them. Who is a coward? The thin man said, but first drank a mouthful of wine to give himself courage. It's my turn. Lu Wanner thought for a moment, and finally boldly said, I have slept with Li Fan. Puff. This time, it was Morong's turn to love to spray juice. Revenge. This was definitely revenge. Among the women present, only Wang Xiaoran and Dragon Girl raised their wine glasses. Oh my God, Jiang Yi, when I was sick, Master accompanied me to sleep on the bed. Does that count as having slept with him? Jiang Yi asked eloquently. Lu Wanner was stunned. It seemed like it could be counted literally. Li Fan was overjoyed. This time, there was another loophole in the words. The Chinese language was really broad and profound. What do you think of Li Fan's martial arts? Imperial concubine Zhou held her wine glass and asked Lu Wan, not bad, but he doesn't like foreplay. He especially hates it. Later I'll teach him well. Okay, let's work hard together. The two women actually shared Li Fan in such a dignified manner. Chapter 1163. Even the thick-skinned Li Fan was somewhat flushed. These two girls in front of so many disciples, it was too much. The fat and thin duo were envious. Master was too powerful. He had actually slept with two such beautiful girls. Sure enough, practicing martial arts was still very important. Everyone played 2 more rounds. They were a little excited and drank a lot. When the clock struck 12 o'clock, many people were drunk. The thin man had already fainted under the table. Although his alcohol tolerance was high, he drank too much this time. Without internal force to protect his body, he definitely couldn't drink as much as Li Fan and the others. The fat man was in a good state. He didn't drink too much, but he was busy snatching food from Dragon Girl. Imperial concubine Zhou and Lu Wanner also drank a lot. The two women sat together and were discussing how to train Li Fan. Li Fan also ate and drank to his heart's content. He was sitting there a little tipsy, and his eyes were a little hazy. Today, he drank a lot of wine, and Li Fan didn't use his internal force to dissolve the wine. For him, getting drunk once in a while was also good. Didn't the ancients say that only Dukong could solve one's worries? And Murong was lying on Li Fan's lap, sleeping soundly. This little girl drank a lot tonight. She probably wanted to drink more to reduce her worries. This Murong Bo, he didn't know how much he hated him in his heart. But Li Fan didn't have the slightest bit of sympathy for him. This was Murong Bo's own fault. Later, he would find a chance to marry Murong Ying and let Murong Bo break up his family. Li Fan couldn't help but laugh. He seemed to have already imagined the scene of him hugging two beauties. At this time, Imperial concubine Zhou stood behind Li Fan and directly picked him up. Murong Bo fell to the ground, but she was still sleeping soundly. She didn't know what happened at all. What? Li Fan asked drunkenly. Fuck you. Imperial concubine Zhou said as she picked up Li Fan and brought him to a small room on the side. As soon as she brought Li Fan in, Lu Wanner followed behind and closed the door. Li Fan was a little stunned as he looked at the two women in front of him. What do you want? Didn't I tell you everything? Imperial concubine Zhou pressed Li Fan down on the bed. Lu Wanner also walked towards him with a drunken smile. What did that mean? 1 king and 2 empresses? You're lucky tonight. Imperial concubine Zhou licked her lips. 2 or more people are considered promiscuous. If you're arrested, you'll get a heavy sentence. Li Fan said, whatever. Without any explanation, the two women pushed Li Fan down. Jiang Yu was a little tipsy. She leaned against the door of Li Fan's room and listened to the moans inside. She was drowsy and wanted to sleep. It was already a mess outside. This New Year's Eve was indeed a little happy. When Li Fan woke up, it was already early the next morning. Two women were lying on the bed, sleeping soundly. Li Fan tiptoed and didn't wake them up. He put on his clothes and pushed the door to go out. Outside, everything had been tidied up. Jiang Yu was teaching 3 apprentices. The first lesson for these 3 people was nothing else but horse stance and chi training. Seeing Li Fan coming out, Jiang Yu hurriedly bowed to Li Fan. Master, Happy New Year. While you guys are practicing, Li Fan displayed his ability to be thick-skinned, pretending that nothing had happened, and greeted the apprentices. Where's Xiaohu? He went out to challenge the dojo. Only then did Li Fan remember that he told Xiaohu to go out and challenge 3 dojos every day. The Huffing Dojo across the street. Tell him not to. Li Fan told Jiang Yi to call Xiaohu. Don't worry, I told him before we went out. Jiang Yi knew her master's thoughts. As long as he has a bit of IQ, he shouldn't go to challenge the Huffing Dojo. Well, that's good. Fortunately, you are here. Wang Xiaoran didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Her own dojo was challenged just like that. Who told them to have the ability to do so? She also had to work hard and become as strong as her master. However, chi training was really boring. She also had to keep squatting. Don't get distracted. Jiang Yi lightly knocked on Wang Xiaoran's head. Focus on chi training. Wang Xiaoran didn't dare to say anything. She cleared her mind and obediently continued to practice chi. According to her master, she could clearly feel a small ball of chi in her dantian that was spinning. If she succeeded, this ball of chi should be able to slowly become stronger. Master, there seems to be someone outside. Jiang Yi seemed to have heard something and looked outside the door. It's the new year, who could come? Li Fan signaled Jiang Yi to open the door. The dojo's door opened. The person outside was none other than Li Fan's sworn brother, Jin Zhou. Jin Zhou brought a few escorts and walked in. He even brought a greeting gift. Big brother? Li Fan was a little surprised and hurried forward to welcome him. Why are you here? What are you talking about? Why can't I come? Jin Zhou laughed and patted Li Fan's shoulder. It's the new year, so I have to come and pay my respects to our golden escort. What golden escort? How can there be such a title now? Li Fan pulled Jin Zhou into the house and sat down. Moreover, a year has passed. I have also voluntarily retired. What retire? If it wasn't for you, the current escort business would have already collapsed. In everyone's heart, you are fully deserving of the title of golden escort. That's too kind of me. Li Fan repeatedly waved his hand, feeling a little guilty. If he was a little stronger, the current martial arts world would not have become like this. Speaking of which, it was because he was not strong enough. Li Fan felt very regretful. Nowadays, it was difficult to move forward in the martial arts world. Their escort agency also relied on a little support from the government to barely survive. No matter what, we still have to rely on third brother. Jean Zhou cupped his fist. I hope that third brother will put in more effort in the new year. I will do my best, big brother can rest assured. Li Fan waved his hand and ordered the thin man to get the wine. Since big brother is here, let's not talk about anything else. Let's float a big white. Good. Do you have any good wine here? How about 1900? You're kidding me, haha. Here are 2 bottles of good Luzhou Laojiao. Try it. Li Fan laughed. You still had some good wine here. Good. Today I will drink a few more cups with you, little brother. Well, by the way, how's the escort agency recently? Li Fan talked about serious matters. Fortunately, we are now using the underground route, so the security work has been very good. Moreover, your relationship with the higher-ups is more lenient with our policies. In this way, in a few years, the escort agency will slowly go on the right track, and we won't have to worry too much. Well, no matter what, we have to persevere. Li Fan thought of the days when he was an escort. One day, we will return to the public. Chapter 1164. After Jean Zhou left, even Wang Dali from Harmony Martial Arts School came over to pay his New Year greetings. Li Fan knew that this guy had an ulterior motive. He was here to see his daughter. Putting Li Fan aside, let's talk about Lu Xiaohu. He didn't drink too much yesterday, so he was quite refreshed after sleeping. There were quite a few martial arts schools on this street. Lu Xiaohu glanced at the Wind Martial Arts School opposite him and suppressed the desire in his heart. It was his junior sister's martial arts school after all. It was better to let them go. He turned around and saw the Prestige Martial Arts School on the other side of the street. Lu Xiaohu thought about it. It seemed to be the martial arts school of the bald man in red, where they practiced iron wire punch. This iron wire punch was created by Iron Bridge San and was very powerful. Back then, Lu Xiaohu was obsessed with Shi Xiaolong's TV series. In the end, he even stole his mother's bracelet, wore it on his wrist, and practiced for a while. The result was that he was hung up and beaten by his mother for 3 days. Thinking about it now, Lu Xiaohu could not help but laugh at himself. He was really a child back then. The martial arts school was already open on the first day of the new year. For the martial arts world, the new year and the first day of the new year were times to welcome guests. At the entrance of the Prestige Martial Arts School, the bald man in red was welcoming guests with a smile on his face. But when his gaze fell on Lu Xiaohu, he immediately looked away. The bald man's mouth twitched slightly. Why are you here? Happy New Year. I'm here to challenge the school. Lu Xiaohu extended his hand and greeted him enthusiastically. Since it was a challenge, what was there to be happy about? Sorry, our dojo master is not here, so we can't challenge the school. The bald man in red seemed to want to reject Lu Xiaohu, but Lu Xiaohu was not stupid. I heard you say to those people that the dojo master is waiting for them inside. Bro, you need to have some skill in lying. Damn. The bald man in red pointed at Lu Xiao. You're too mean. What? You don't dare to let me challenge the school. Lu Xiaohu laughed. As long as you see me in the future, call me Grandpa, and I will let you go. How about it? This bunch of guys came to their dojo to meditate and cause trouble. Now that their dojo was destroyed, they were terrified. Lu Xiaohu was extremely unhappy. If he didn't get his revenge this time, he wouldn't be called Lu Xiaohu. This is too much. Bah, shameless. You were the ones who bullied us, but now you're blaming us instead. Lu Xiaohu was angry and wanted to laugh at the same time. Your martial arts school, young master will definitely kick it out today. As he spoke, he shouted, Lu Xiaohu, the chief disciple of the Seven Heroes Martial Arts School, is here to challenge the school. Please enlighten me. Even the people of the dojo could hear him. The guests all came out to watch the show. Challenging a dojo was something that every dojo would experience. However, this was the first time they came to challenge the dojo during the new year. Lu Xiaohu was pleased to see everyone's surprised expressions. This was exactly the effect he wanted. He wanted to let these people know that the Seven Heroes Martial Arts School was not a pushover. Lu Xiaohu ignored the bald man in red and went straight into the dojo. He wanted to see what the owner looked like first, Inside the dojo, there was also a group of people watching the show. All of them gathered together, waiting to see the challenge. Especially since Lu Xiaohu was so young and a member of the Seven Heroes Martial Arts School. It was really worth watching. A white-faced old man in a red robe stood in the middle of the dojo, looking at Lu Xiaohu in front of him. "Kid, you're young, but you're quite brave." The old man let out a long sigh. "I really don't want to bully you. Take a red packet and go back." Everyone praised him. Elder Lu is really generous. He's indeed the leader of the martial arts world. This kid is overestimating himself. Lu Xiaohu was a little restless when he heard these people talking about him. The old man was proud. He was still young after all. Just the surrounding people's comments were enough to make him lose his cool. The most taboo thing in a fight was to be impatient. "Cut the crap. Who wants your red packet? Let's fight." Lu Xiaohu was getting more and more irritated by the crowd's condemnation. "You don't dare to fight, old man. Since the kid wants to fight, that's fine too." The old man stroked his beard and looked at Lu Xiaohu, his eyes shining. "However, I'm still a martial arts senior. It's really embarrassing to bully a junior like you. How about this? According to the rules of the martial arts world, you have to defeat my disciples first. If you can defeat all of them, then I'll give you a chance to fight with me. How about that?" "Sure." Lu Xiaohu did not refuse. The old man was overjoyed. "Okay, let's begin. Disciples, get ready to fight." Under the old man's command, 18 young disciples walked out from both sides and stood in front of Lu Xiao. "Huh, a human wave tactic." Lu Xiaohu did not care at all. Good, this is interesting. Who's first?" He lowered his body slightly and got into the stance of the Tiger Strike technique. Seven Heroes Sect Tiger Strike technique. Lu Xiaohu is here to learn. "Kid, you're too arrogant." A disciple had already put on a steel ring and was about to throw an iron fist at Lu Xiaohu. However, Lu Xiaohu moved to the side and avoided his fist. At the same time, a claw was already on his throat, directly suffocating the martial master. After the battle with Jiang Yi, Lu Xiaohu had benefited a lot. He realized that among all the martial arts in the world, only speed was unbeatable. Although he did not use his true energy, the people present still could not see how he made his move. Everyone only saw a blur before Lu Xiaohu threw an unconscious disciple to the side. "Next, hurry up, young master is in a hurry today." Although Li Fan had reminded Lu Xiaohu to be humble. However, the instant victory made him a little arrogant. The surroundings were dead silent. Everyone could not believe their eyes. This was an instant kill in one move. Did you see how that kid made his move? I didn't see it clearly. It was too fast. That's too abnormal. Everyone looked at Lu Xiaohu as if they were looking at a monster. It's just a coincidence. Let me see how good your martial arts are. Another disciple rushed forward from the side. His martial arts in the martial arts school was also quite high, basically ranked in the top 5. He aimed an iron fist at Lu Xiaohu's ribs. However, Lu Xiaohu was faster. He had completely integrated the tiger strike into his body. With a tiger claw, he was one step ahead of the other party's forehead. Then, he pressed down and kicked the other party's head with his knee. The guy immediately fainted and lost consciousness. Next, Lu Xiaohu was as relaxed as eating a bun, but the people in the martial arts school were nervous. Chapter 1165. To Lu Xiaohu, he did not know what modesty meant. 10 minutes later, the 10th disciple was lying on the ground. Lu Xiaohu clapped his hands and asked, "Anyone else? Everyone, let's go." The remaining 8 could not hold it in any longer. Who cares about the rules? Let's just go. Don't hurt this little kid, the old man pretended to say. But in the blink of an eye, his 8 aggressive disciples were directly knocked to the ground by Lu Xiaohu. Lu Xiaohu's movements were extremely fast. Knocking down a few disciples was like cutting melons and vegetables like a tiger in a flock of sheep. The old man was dumbfounded. "Master, it's your turn, right?" Lu Xiaohu gestured for the old man to go first. "Elder Lu, this kid is a little wild. You have to go first." "Yeah, Elder Lu, teach this kid a lesson." The crowd cheered, as if they wanted to see Elder Lu defeat Lu Xiaohu. Lu Xiaohu thought to himself, Damn it. Am I that unpopular? Who cares? They're a bunch of retards. If that's the case, I can only do it myself today. The old man stretched out his hands, and disciples immediately came over from both sides, respectfully rolled up the old man's sleeves, and then put on 2 rows of steel rings. Fists and feet have no eyes. Kid, please be careful. The old man put on the steel rings, but was not in a hurry to make a move. Instead, he looked at Lu Xiaohu quietly. Kid, why don't you make the first move? Sure, here I come. Lu Xiaohu suddenly leaped forward, and in the blink of an eye, he was in front of the old man. The old man had not reacted yet. Although he was surprised, he was a veteran grandmaster of combat after all, so he was relatively calm. Almost subconsciously, he swung both his fists forward and directly launched a pincer attack at Lu Xiaohu. However, Lu Xiaohu lowered his body, almost sticking to the ground, and directly grabbed the old man's ankle, trying to flip him to the ground. The old man was shocked, and he steadied his lower body to avoid making a fool of himself. Lu Xiaohu's attack did not succeed, but he continued to attack fiercely, like a ferocious tiger. Although he did not use his inner force, his tiger strike art was unstoppable. Using speed to fight slow, it directly disrupted the old man's rhythm, causing him to retreat step by step. The old man's expression became more and more unsightly. He was famous and had many admirers, but today he was actually beaten into a mess by a little brat. The old man became more and more flustered and anxious to suppress Lu Xiaohu. But Lu Xiaohu's attack was flawless, so fast that he had no time to defend. Very quickly, he was beaten until he revealed a big flaw. Then Lu Xiaohu directly clawed at his face and pressed him to the ground. Master, Elder Lu. Everyone was dumbfounded when they saw the old man being knocked to the ground in just a few moves. This was too illogical. This little brat was actually so powerful. Just how did he train his lightning-fast tiger form fist? Everyone, don't blame the young master for being impolite. Lu Xiaohu still remembered the time when they came to bully the dojo together. At such a young age, Lu Xiaohu had a strong sense of justice and a strong desire for revenge. The current him was very much like the previous Li Fan, with a kind of arrogance in his bones. But the current Li Fan, after experiencing so many hardships, had become more reserved, with hidden sharpness. As Lu Xiaohu spoke, he leaped up to a height of more than 2 meters, then hung upside down and kicked the plaque hanging above his head into 2 halves. The old man had just been helped up, but this time, he fell to the ground again. This time, the dojo really had no face left. Stop! You want to leave after fighting? The bald man in red grabbed Lu Xiaohu, who was about to leave, and a group of disciples surrounded him. What? You can't win, so you're throwing sand. Lu Xiaohu laughed. All right, then I'll play with you guys. As he spoke, Lu Xiaohu leaped forward and instantly rushed into the crowd. His hands were like iron claws. Every time he pinched a disciple's neck, they would faint. In the blink of an eye, Lu Xiaohu was surrounded by people, all of whom had lost the ability to fight. The bald man in red was kicked out of the door by Lu Xiaohu. Don't block the young master. The young master still has 2 dojos to challenge today. As he spoke, Lu Xiaohu turned around and walked away. No one dared to stop him again. The old man looked at the 2 halves of the dojo plaque on the ground and fainted from anger. On this day, Li Fan received a few guests who came to visit for the new year, most of whom were business friends. In the evening, Lu Xiaohu also came back in high spirits. It seemed that he had returned triumphantly. Master, I've challenged 3 dojos today. What took you so long? Jiang Yi looked at the time. You went out in the morning and only came back now. Don't tell me you went somewhere to fool around? How could that be? Lu Xiaohu hurriedly explained. When I came back, I saw someone selling something called fried chicken and said it was very delicious. I wanted to show my filial respect to master, so I went to line up. As Lu Xiaohu spoke, he lifted the bag in his hand. Here, see for yourselves. Dragon Girl was watching TV at the side. As soon as she heard there was delicious food, she went up and took it away without hesitation. But it shouldn't have taken so long. Jiang Yu was still a little doubtful. He must have gone somewhere to fool around. I swear to God, there are so many people lining up. Lu Xiaohu cried out in grievance. Is it the pearl fried chicken in the east? At this time, Wang Xiaoran spoke. Yes, 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 that's the one. Lu Xiaohu nodded repeatedly. That's right. Wang Xiaoran explained for Lu Xiaohu. Second senior sister, senior brother really didn't go there to fool around. That pearl fried chicken is very popular, especially at this time of the new year. There are 2 streets of queues. So many people, how greedy are they? Wang Xiaoran was born and raised in City G. Since she said so, it should not be wrong. Jiang Yi curled his lips. He felt that the foodie was a little too strong. Thank you, Xiaohu. Li Fan patted Lu Xiaohu's shoulder. Master is very happy that you can still think of Master when you go out. Jiang Yi seemed to be a little jealous. Master, why don't I go and challenge the dojo tomorrow? It's not the right time yet. Li Fan hurriedly comforted his second disciple. Your identity must be kept secret. It's not suitable for you to go out. But isn't senior brother also a wanted criminal? How can he go out? The one who put him on the wanted list is Long Qinyan. Now that Long Qinyan has been killed, as long as he doesn't show his superpower, no one will pay attention to him. Moreover, letting him be in the limelight is to tell others that he is a martial artist, not a mutant. That's right. Moreover, I am our chief disciple. Lu Xiaohu's tail was about to reach the sky. Naturally, I should go and challenge the dojo. Master, don't mention how glorious we are today. Well, if that's the case, before Li Fan finished his words, a person suddenly jumped in from the side window. Chapter 1166. Fuck you. Who's that? The skinny guy's voice resounded. I just fucking kicked the floor. Are you a thief? Give me ouch. The skinny guy screamed. Li Fan and the rest quickly went over to take a look. A figure in a sports shirt was squatting there with one hand on the skinny guy's throat. It looked like he could kill him at any moment. Although the figure's head was covered with a hoodie, Li Fan could tell that it was a girl's figure. She was very slender and curvaceous. Judging from her aura, she should be someone he knew. Jean Kimo, why are you here? Li Fan placed a hand on her shoulder. Relax. He's one of us. I'm an outer disciple. Li Fan's hand seemed to carry a special power that made Jean Kimo's body go limp. She lost all her strength and let go of the skinny guy. The skinny guy was so scared that he rolled on the ground and ran behind Li Fan. What kind of demonic technique did you use? Jean Kimo's body went limp. She looked at Li Fan in front of her. Her eyes were filled with unwillingness, but there was also a sense of wronged beauty. Her body felt swollen and numb. She couldn't exert any strength. At that moment, Li Fan suddenly felt a demon in his heart. This girl is quite beautiful. Night Rain Tower can't use his legs now. Should I take care of Jean Kimo for him? Li Fan, what nonsense are you thinking about all day long? Li Fan sorted out his thoughts and explained. It's not demonic technique. I just sealed your acupoints with elemental energy. Li Fan explained and withdrew his elemental energy from Jean Kimo's body. Jean Kimo recovered and looked at Li Fan with a strange gaze. You're becoming more and more like a monster. You're overestimating me. Li Fan smiled modestly. In terms of monsters compared to the 2 of them, I can't even be ranked. Imperial concubine Zhou was playing the zither while Dragon Lady was gnawing on a roasted chicken. The 2 of them displayed their elegance and vulgarity. Gangzi, are you okay? Li Fan used his yuan qi to check the skinny man's body. Fortunately, there were only some flesh wounds. I'm fine, master. It's just that my butt hurt a little. The skinny man stood there bitterly. Even if he had something to say, he wouldn't dare to say it. How did his master know so many women? Jean Kameo, why are you here? What? Am I not welcome here? Jean Isao looked at Li Fan in displeasure. That's not it. I'm just curious. It's the new year. Shouldn't you be spending the new year at Yijian? Do you think I don't want to? Jean Jumal was unhappy. It's all because the Alliance Master asked me to come over and wish you a happy new year. So that's how it is. Alliance Chief Luo is very considerate. Li Fan waved his hand and asked Jiang Yi to take out a box. This box contains the Tian Luo pill, a new product refined by Medicine King Valley's disciple, Luo Xiaofeng. Li Fan explained, taking this Tian Luo pill can increase the strength of a martial artist by 1 dragon. So godly? Jin Jima didn't seem to believe it. Of course, Luo Xiaofeng almost went crazy in order to refine this pill. Li Fan laughed heartily. But the heavens do not disappoint those who work hard. He finally refined it. Then wouldn't he be invincible if he just ate this thing? Dream on. Using medicine as a supplement is still a bad idea. Li Fan reminded Jin Jiuma, this Tian Luo pill can only be taken once in a lifetime. There won't be any effect if you eat more. Moreover, the ingredients for this Tian Luo pill are very hard to find. The cost of 1 pill is over 1 million. Only 1 million? To an expert, how could 1 million be considered money? She already understood the value of the Tian Luo pill. This thing was used to break through. For example, after cultivating the strength of 9 dragons, eating 1 pill would allow one to enter the strength of 10 dragons and break through to the realm of a grandmaster. This pill's value was at least over 100 million. Li Fan was really generous. Yi Jian had indeed brought a gift, but it was just a snow lotus. Although it was worth some money, it was not as valuable as the Tian Luo pill. Please help me pass it to Alliance Chief Luo. Happy New Year to everyone. Many thanks. Even if Jin Jiuma was not willing, he still had to thank Li Fan. Don't mention it. No matter what, I am still a protector of Yi Jian. How are Alliance Chief Luo and the rest? Fortunately, we are hiding in a safe place and fighting with the royal army. Jin Jiuma said, right now, the royal army is chasing us very closely. A while ago, Long Fengyu's place was destroyed by them. Whistling West Wind. Are they finished? No. Fatty Long ran away. Jin Jiuma shrugged. But we lost a general and a protector. That's really tragic. Although Li Fan said this, he did not care in his heart. Whistling West Wind had nothing to do with him. Fatty Long was said to be an ambitious person and should be able to live for a long time. I heard that Fatty Long also sent people to look for you. Jin Jiuma reminded Li Fan. I think he wants to rope you in. We'll talk about his matter later. You came here covered in dust. Take a rest, take a bath, and eat something. Li Fan said with a chuckle, if I neglect you, your alliance chief will say that I don't treat my guest well. All right, I'll rest for a day. I'll go back tomorrow. Jin Jiuma stretched, looking extremely flirtatious. Even Li Fan was a little stunned. Jiang Yi, go and arrange a room for Heavenly King Jin. Li Fan ordered. Yes, master. Jiang Yi agreed, and then led Jin Komeo to her room. The sky gradually turned dark. Luoner was still working overtime at the company and had not returned yet. Murong, who loved to sleep in, had also woken up and was playing games with Dragon Girl. Under Li Fan's guidance, the two of them had recently become addicted to LOL and were playing happily. Li Fan, come and play with me. Xiao AI was naturally intelligent and played very well. She was much better than her sister. She shouted at Li Fan, we lack a strong support. You two play first. It's fine if Xiao Hu accompany you. Isn't he bringing an apprentice? Come quickly. Li Fan always felt that Murong's words had a hidden meaning, but he deliberately pretended not to understand. Xiao should be back soon. I'll go to the company to pick her up. Li Fan also wanted to go out for a stroll, but just as he was about to walk out, he immediately retracted his leg. These few days, Imperial Concubine Zhou handed over the club to others to manage and stayed at Li Fan's place every day. She also sensed that something was wrong. She raised her head and glanced at Li Fan. Do you still have so many guests? Of course not. Li Fan walked back and sat on the armchair. Everyone prepared to receive the guests. Yes. Lu Xiaohu was the first to react. He ordered the 3 apprentices to stand together with Dragon Girl to avoid being implicated. Chapter 1167. A group of men in black suits silently approached the 7 Heroes Martial Arts School under the cover of the night. Li Fan sat on an armchair, facing the door. Lu Xiaohu exercised his muscles and bones, looking a little excited. Jiang Yi walked out silently and put on a mask to cover her face. Her identity still needed to be kept a secret. At this time, Jiang Yi was holding Li Fan's extraordinary sword and stood on Li Fan's left side, as still as a statue. The other 3 apprentices didn't dare to make a sound and stood beside Dragon Girl and the others. They didn't know what was going to happen, but they felt that the atmosphere had suddenly become a little stifling. Imperial concubine Zhou sat on the right side of Li Fan. This imperial concubine was still wearing a clean and beautiful Han dress. She looked dignified and elegant, with the attitude of a motherly model of the world. Everyone, pay attention. Don't neglect the guests. Li Fan reminded them, and leisurely took a sip of tea. It wasn't a good tea, just barley tea. It was warm and fragrant, and Li Fan liked it very much. As for flower tea, green tea, or black tea, he didn't know much about it. Bang! The door of the martial arts school was suddenly kicked open, and a group of men in black rushed into the 7 Heroes Martial Arts School. The man in the lead was wearing a white suit, and Li Fan couldn't help but think of Yin Kai in the past. The first time they met, he was wearing a narcissistic white suit and was beaten up by him. However, the suits that these people were wearing were obviously uniforms. The man in the black suit had a conscription logo on his chest, and the man in the white suit had a cannon logo on his chest. Li Fan once inquired about some information and said that the Imperial Army was ranked according to Chinese chess. Among them, the highest rank was General. Next was Sergeant, followed by Minister, Horse, Chariot, Cannon, and Soldier. The person in front of him should be an officer of the cannon rank. He was wearing a white suit with a sword hanging on his waist. The sword was made by the Imperial Army, and it had the mark of the Imperial Army. Everyone, are you here in the middle of the night to wish me a happy new year? Li Fan looked at the 20 or so ferocious thugs that barged in, smiled, and then ordered Jiang Yi, "Look, go get some red envelopes and give them some. Don't forget the etiquette of our dojo." Yes, Jiang Yi said this, but his feet didn't move. After all, his master was just saying it. "Red packet?" The cannoneer sneered. "Are you trying to bribe me?" "Official?" Li Fan asked calmly. "May I ask what official position you hold?" "A cannoneer of the Royal Army." "Di Wuyang," the officer said arrogantly. "Are you still not going to kneel after seeing this official?" "Idiot! Who do you think you are to make my master kneel to you?" Lu Xiaohu immediately scolded. At the same time, all the black-suited men pulled out their sword from their waists and aimed them at Lu Xiaohu. How could Lu Xiaohu be afraid of them? He glared at them and opened his hands, making tiger claws. He was ready to pounce on them at any time. "Xiaohu!" Li Fan stopped Lu Xiaohu. "You don't know the rules." Lu Xiaohu obediently retreated to the side. How could he disobey his master's order? As expected of the little overlord. Impressive. Di Wuyang clapped his hands lightly, but his eyes were full of mockery. "You can even challenge the Royal Army. That's really amazing. It seems that you're here to make trouble." Li Fan slowly put down the teacup. "Cut the crap, Li Fan. Don't think that the Royal Army won't dare to touch you just because you have a background. We found out that you're harboring a suspect here. Hand over the suspect immediately, or you know the consequences." "Now this is interesting." Li Fan knocked his legs and looked at the cannoneer Di Wuyang in front of him. "In this room, besides you, the rest are Li Fan's friends. I want to know, who is the suspect you're talking about? Are you pretending to be stupid?" Di Wuyang sneered. "Criminal organization Jian Xiao Qingfeng, criminal Jin Jiomao. She's hiding in your place. My men have been following her for a long time, and this time I've caught them red-handed." "Oh, Jin Jiomao. Seems to be Jian's man. I've heard of him." Li Fan looked at Di Wuyang in surprise. "But I'm not familiar with her. Why would I be harboring her? Don't play dumb with me. Search for me." Di Wuyang waved his hand, and the surrounding men in black suits were about to search the room. "Who dares?" Lu Xiaohu let out a roar, causing the men in black suits to sway a little. Lu Xiaohu's true qi was not to be underestimated. "Li Fan, what's the meaning of this? You want to go against the Royal Army?" Di Wuyang reprimanded. "Harboring a suspect, even if there's someone backing you up, they can't protect you. The higher-ups have decreed that all criminal organizations must be severely punished. What does that have to do with me?" Li Fan did not have the slightest intention of backing down. "If you want to search my dojo, Then show me the court's warrant. Li Fan, I think you're refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Is that so? Li Fan crossed his legs and placed both his hands on them. When did you guys give me a toast? Let's hear it. Don't care about him. Search for me. Di Wuliang began to act tough. He waved his hand, and the men in black suits behind him ran into the dojo, preparing to turn this place upside down. Imperial concubine Zhou did not intervene. She knew that since Li Fan was here, he would definitely deal with it himself. Li Fan sat there with a bit of anger on his face. At the same time, he extended his hand. A powerful force pressed down on everyone. All the men in black suits were half kneeling on the ground, their bodies unable to move. Di Wuliang struggled to stand on the ground, his brows tightly wrinkled. Such a strong internal energy. Just by relying on internal energy, he was able to suppress everyone. When Di Wuliang heard that this little tyrant had successfully cultivated the so-called elemental energy, he did not take it to heart and treated it as a rumor. But today, he felt that it was not a rumor. Li Fan, what are you trying to do? I am an officer of the Imperial Army. I am your grandfather. Li Fan waved his hand, and Di Wuliang's body flew out, heavily hitting the wall behind him, hanging there. Why don't you take a look at where you are? You actually dare to come here and behave atrociously. You really have guts. Li Fan's face was as calm as water. I am China's Shangfang sword. Not to mention a small artillery officer like you. Even if it's your Imperial Army's commander, I can still behead him. Di Wuliang was speechless. The name Shangfang sword does have some weight. Today is the first day of the new year. I don't want my dojo to see blood. I will give you 10 seconds, scram. Li Fan, just you wait. Di Wuliang could only lead his men back resentfully. Before he left, he did not forget to leave behind some ruthless words. This matter is not over. Chapter 1168. The next morning, when Lu Xiaohu got dressed and came out of the martial arts school, he found that the Seven Heroes Martial Arts School was surrounded by 3 layers of people. A group of Imperial guards in black suits stood guard here like bodyguards of the Seven Heroes Martial Arts School. What the fuck? What are you doing? Lu Xiaohu was furious. What was the meaning of this? Were they playing a game with them? Hee. We suspect that there's a suspect hiding here. In order to prevent the suspect from escaping, we are guarding here. Di Wuliang stood at the door, looked at the angry Lu Xiaohu, and sneered. What? We didn't enter your house, and we didn't affect your business. Look, isn't the position at the door reserved? Are you afraid that we will guard here because you're hiding a suspect? Bullshit, calling us a suspect every time. How annoying. Although Lu Xiaohu had a bad temper, he was not stupid. He rolled his eyes and put on his hoodie. Do whatever you want, it's none of my business. Goodbye. Lu Xiaohu still had to challenge the martial arts school, so he turned around and left. Jean Jamal, I don't believe you won't come out. Di Wuliang crossed his arms and stood guard at the door, waiting for his prey. For 3 days in a row, the Imperial Guards surrounded the door of the martial arts school and had no intention of leaving. Li Fan also ordered not to have any conflict with the Imperial Guards. Therefore, everyone did what they were supposed to do. Lu Xiaohu went to challenge martial arts schools as usual, the apprentices practiced as usual, and Lil Wan went to work as usual. With the protection of the Shangfang sword, the Imperial Guards could only surround the place and did not dare to act rashly. The Imperial Guards did not affect Li Fan, so he could not fight with them. On the 5th day of the Lunar New Year, Li Fan took advantage of the good weather and went to the yard with the people from the martial arts school to have barbecue. Li Fan specially bought a stove, put charcoal on the fire, and then took the meat that had been cooked and barbecued on the stove. Dragon Girl sat by the side, drooling, and looked at Li Fan's barbecue like a little pet waiting to be fed. Meanwhile, Moron loved to stay close to Dragon Girl. The 2 little girls had a very good relationship and stuck together every day. Imperial concubine Zhou was sitting at the side. She was wearing a Bluetooth headset and was talking to her people on the phone. She seemed to be instructing them about work. Nowadays, Imperial concubine Zhou rarely went to dream of the Ming dynasty. As a result, her business was handed over to her subordinates. Fortunately, The dream of the Ming dynasty was already on the right track. There were both open and hidden ones, and the monthly income was extremely high. They had given the government a lot of GDP and private benefits, so even the local government of City G had given the green light to the Ming dynasty's dream. Naturally, the three apprentices also had the opportunity to eat. The three of them stood in the courtyard and followed Jiang Ye's instructions, squatting while waiting for the food. In the past few days, the chef of the dojo had also taken a break, so the food was prepared by Li Fan himself, and the taste was quite popular with everyone. Therefore, the three apprentices were simply in high spirits. Although training was a little tough, they did not have to worry about food and drink. Come. Everyone can eat the barbecue. Jiang Yi, help the three of them carry some over. Li Fan barbecued the meat until it was golden and tender, and the heat was just right. Jiang Yi walked over first, put some barbecued meat on a small plate, and brought it to the apprentices who were squatting next to her. Dragon Girl and Murong came over and began to fight for the barbecue. Li Fan personally carried some to Imperial concubine Zhou. Di Wuliang and the others stood in the cold wind, drooling as they watched them eat the barbecued meat with relish. Di Wuliang was so angry that his nose almost became crooked. This Li Fan was really too much. He definitely did it on purpose. Di Wuliang and his brothers could only eat the box lunch every day, and they were getting tired of it. They didn't even know how many kinds of side dishes they had to eat. They must complain to the department about the food. What the fuck? This barbecue looked very delicious. In the next few days, Li Fan seemed to have fallen in love with the feeling of having a picnic. Every day at noon, he brought a group of people from the dojo to the courtyard to have a meal. In addition to barbecued meat, there was also hot pot, French food, Japanese food. In short, there were all kinds of things that made the brothers from the royal army suffer. However, Di Wuliang and the others could only curse in their hearts, fuck. However, there's also good news. After Di Wuliang's complaints, they could finally add a braised egg to their lunch boxes. Li Fan was calm, but Jin Qimo was a little restless. A few days later, after dinner, Li Fan picked up Lu Wan and went home. He saw that Jin Qimo had already changed into a black outfit and was about to leave. Where are you going? Li Fan stopped her. I can't sit here and wait for death. I have to return to Yijian. Jin Qimo said without hesitation, Yijian needs me. Heavenly King Jin. Then you should also look at the current situation, right? The dojo is surrounded like an iron bucket, and you will be caught the moment you go out. Just stay here for a few days, and I will naturally think of a way to send you out. Stay here for a few days? Jin Qimo pointed outside. Those royal army are like your bodyguards, camping outside and not leaving. You have to be prepared for a long battle. Have you heard of Grandpa Mao's article on protracted war? What does it have to do with me, whether you can last or not? Jin Qimo had a bad temper. At worst, I will just fight it out with him. So you didn't come here to pay a New Year greeting, but to send yourself to death. Li Fan started to laugh at her. I really feel sorry for Alliance Master Luo, sending such an unreliable person. She should have sent Knight Rain Tower. Even if he is a cripple, he is still stronger than you. You. Jin Qimo flew into a rage. Just as she was about to explode, Li Fan glared at her. All right, stop messing around. You are now in my dojo, and you will be under my control. Don't forget, I am Yijian's protector, a rank higher than you. It's fine if you want to die, but I don't want Alliance Master Luo to blame me. Now you're putting on airs again. Jin Qimo became obedient after being scolded by Li Fan. Then, when can I leave? What's the hurry? We are competing in patience now. Li Fan reminded Jin Qimo, this group of Royal Guard have also calculated your character, and they know that you will definitely not be able to hold back. Do you really want to go out like this and let them have their way? I will listen to you, but I'm a little nervous. Li Fan placed his hand lightly on Jin Qimo's arm, and a warm current flowed from his palm into Jin Qimo's body. For some reason, Jin Qimo felt much more at ease. The power of elemental energy was indeed somewhat magical. Don't panic. How about this? You stay here, and I will teach you martial arts. Jin Qimo was slightly shocked. From today onwards, you will learn martial arts from me. It won't be too late to go out and fight for Yi Jian when you become stronger." Li Fan's words were very tempting to Jin Kyumo. As the saying goes, sharpening the knife will not delay the work of cutting firewood. Do you want to learn my elemental energy? Chapter 1169. After practicing the 9 Truths technique, Li Fan's body produced a higher level of Yuan Qi. He could teach others the way to cultivate Yuan Qi. Currently, Li Fan had only taught it to 2 people. One was Lu Xiaohu, and the other was Jiang Yi. However, because none of them had experienced Li Fan's stage of breaking his cultivation, the vitality that they cultivated was not pure. In terms of level, they were much weaker than Li Fan, but their true qi was much higher. Li Fan felt that with their current comprehensive strength, even if they encountered an expert who had reached the pinnacle of perfection, they would still be able to win. Jin Kyumo was already an expert at the peak of perfection. After some training, his strength should be even higher. But didn't you forget about the 7 Heroes Fist? Jin Kyumo looked at Li Fan seriously. Can you still teach me the Xingyi Fist? Let's put the Xingyi Fist aside for now. I'll show you how strong my Yuan Qi is. Li Fan turned around and instructed Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi, let the 3 of them continue to practice their horses. You come down with me. Mao Mao, you come down too. Li Fan brought the 2 girls directly to the basement. Mao Mao, as one of the 4 heavenly kings of the Sword Reliance sect, your strength should be at the middle stage of perfection, right? Yes. Jin Kyumo nodded. Li Fan's eyesight was quite good. Yes, I'll tell you about little Ye's strength first. Li Fan introduced his second disciple, Jiang Yi, 14 years old, early stage of the ascension. Compared to you, he's much weaker, right? That's for sure. Jin Kyumo said without hesitation. Early stage of the ascension probably had the strength of 5 tigers. He was at the middle stage of perfection and had the strength of 5 dragons. How could 5 tigers and 5 dragons be compared? Not to mention early stage of the ascension. Even if he was at the peak, he could still fight 3 or 4 of them. He was 5 times stronger than Jiang Yi. The difference in strength could not be made up by the difference in moves. What do you want? Jin Hisao looked at Li Fan. He had a feeling that the latter was plotting something. You and Jiang Yi have a match. Li Fan's answer surprised her. Fight with this little girl? Crazy. How could she possibly be his opponent? Are you crazy? Do you want me to vent on your disciple? Don't underestimate her. Li Fan smiled. You'll know once you fight. All right, just take it as me helping you train your disciple. Jin Hisao tied up his long hair, which had been dyed green, and waved at Jiang Yi. Come, I'll let you make the first move. Please advise me. As soon as Jiang Yi finished speaking, he suddenly stuck close to the ground and instantly appeared in front of Jin Hisao. Initially, Jin Kyumo wasn't bothered by Jiang Ye's attack. But when he saw Jiang Ye's attack, he was shocked and immediately executed a mantis fist, aiming for Jiang Ye's vitals. Jiang Yi, on the other hand, stretched out her right hand and wrapped it around Tsukumu's wrist, blocking her attack. It's useless. Your true qi is too weak. Jin Kyumo's arm exploded with true qi, trying to push Jiang Yi away. But when her true qi hit Jiang Ye's body, it was like a clay ox entering the sea, dissolving more than half of it. The remaining portion was enough for Jiang Yi to hold on. She locked Jin Kyumo's arm, and then her palm, like a knife, instantly arrived in front of Jin Kyumo's throat. Jin Kyumo's protective aura was also torn apart by the sharpness of the knife. As long as Jiang Yi moved forward a little more, she would have been decapitated. Jin Kyumo was in a daze, not daring to believe the truth. She was actually defeated by a little girl who had just reached the next level. You're too careless. Li Fan made Jiang Yi retreat. At the same time, you've underestimated Yuan Qi. Yuan Qi is of a higher level than true Qi, so she can still take advantage of your carelessness to kill you. But if she really fought with you, I'm afraid she might not be able to win. Killing a person and beating a person were 2 different concepts. Killing a person was much easier than beating a person. Lu Xiaohu was better at fighting, while Jiang Yi was more suited for assassination. His two disciples were clearly learning martial arts from him, but they seemed to have walked on different paths. I'm convinced. Jin Qimo admitted defeat for the first time. Li Fan, Protector Li, from today onwards, I'll stay and learn martial arts from you. When I'm done, I'll go out and help Sword Reliance conquer the world. Yes, you should have done this long ago. Li Fan nodded. I won't casually teach this Yuan Qi skill to others. Then why are you willing to teach me? I've known Knight Rain Tower for a while, so just take it as me taking care of you on his behalf. Jin Qimo's face turned red when he heard that. There's nothing between me and him. Humph. Yes, yes, yes. Then from tomorrow onwards, you'll train with those 3 disciples. I also have to train from the basics? Jin Qimo seemed a little unconvinced. Li Fan was underestimating him too much. That's not it. It's just that they've been learning how to cultivate qi these few days. I'm just letting you cultivate qi with them, but the qi you're cultivating is different. That's more like it. Only then did Jin Qimo feel a little happy. Li Fan couldn't help but wipe the sweat off his forehead. Women, at this time, Lu Xiaohu also came to the basement. Master, I knew you'd be in the basement too. Lu Xiaohu seemed a little unhappy. I went out today, but all the dojos were closed. Not a single one was open. I'm so angry. That's a good thing. Li Fan, however, was overjoyed. These guys can't hold back anymore. But I've specially practiced some new moves and wanted to use them to test it out. This Lu Xiaohu was completely treating him as a live target. All right, get ready. I estimate that they'll come knocking in 2 days. Li Fan finished and instructed, from tomorrow onwards, don't go out to challenge dojos. Stay in the dojo and train your Yuan Qi with Protector Jin. Learning Yuan Qi, great. Lu Xiaohu looked at Li Fan with some envy. Master, when can my Yuan Qi be as pure as yours? If you're willing to let Imperial Concubine Zhou suck your martial arts dry and start from the beginning, it should be possible. Then forget it. By the way, did Imperial Concubine Zhou also practice Yuan Qi? Why do I feel that her aura is so similar to ours? Li Fan's old face blushed, and Jiang Yi secretly kicked Lu Xiaohu from behind. Let's go eat. Li Fan waved his sleeves and turned to leave. I'm hungry too. Jin Qimo followed behind. Idiot. Jiang Yi rolled her eyes at Lu Xiaohu and turned to chase after her master. What's going on? Lu Xiaohu didn't understand what was going on, so he asked curiously. Why was there such a big reaction? While they were eating dinner, under the urging of the president, the other dojos gathered together and ran to the entrance of the 7 Heroes dojo, preparing to sit in and demonstrate. Chapter 1170. The Baldy in Red was aggressive. He had joined forces with at least 30 martial arts schools and wanted to cause trouble at Li Fan's 7 Xiao martial arts school. Everyone in G City's martial arts schools was in danger. The martial arts schools that had been kicked by Lu Xiaohu were in despair. As for the martial arts schools that had not been kicked, everyone was in danger. They were afraid that they would be the next target to be kicked. Therefore, under the influence of the Baldy in Red, this group of people gathered together again. This time, they had more people and were ready to demonstrate their strength to the 7 Xiao martial arts school. Brothers, we can't let the 7 Xiao martial arts school look down on us. The Baldy in Red shouted as he walked. Yes, that's right. Let them see our strength. The people from the 7 Xiao martial arts school are too much. How can we open a martial arts school? A group of martial artists followed suit and shouted. They seemed to be very angry. Soon, this group of people gathered in front of the 7 Xiao martial arts school. When they arrived, they were all stunned. At the entrance of the 7 Xiao martial arts school, there were dozens of men in black suits. Each of them looked fierce and had a saber hanging on their waist. They were like door guards. The Baldy in Red was stunned. He looked at one of the men in a white suit, who seemed to be of a higher rank. He could not help but ask, "Friend, what are you doing? Get lost." The man in the white suit shouted. "No one is allowed to approach. Fuck, you guys are looking down on us." The Baldy in Red was furious. He was about to bring his men to teach these ignorant guys a lesson. However, the man in the white suit pulled out a pistol from his waist and turned off the safety. The group of men in black suits behind him pulled out their pistols and aimed at the martial artists in front of them. The martial artists were scared out of their wits. What was going on? Why were they playing with guns? Big brother, I was wrong. The baldy in red was terrified. No matter how powerful he was no match for a gun. You, which street are you from? The main road. Di Wuyong rolled his eyes. Hurry up and leave. Don't be an eyesore here. The baldy in red could only leave resentfully. He thought to himself that Li Fan was too much to hire so many plainclothes policemen to guard his house. I didn't expect the royal guards to have such a wonderful use. Li Fan saw this scene from the window and couldn't help but laugh. What a coincidence. Master, it's not good for these idiots to surround the door every day. Lu Xiaohu was a little worried and asked Li Fan, they all look fierce. If they stand here, how can our dojo business continue? Not bad, you're starting to think. Li Fan laughed. Actually, I've already thought of a way. Lu Xiaohu was taken aback. Master had already calculated it. Tonight, I will chase these people away, Li Fan said mysteriously, then turned around and went back to the room. Lu Xiaohu was a little confused. He couldn't read his master's mind. In the past, Master was very direct. Basically, he would say whatever came to his mind. But now, his master had an unfathomable appearance, and he had the demeanor of those hidden experts. Forget it. I won't think about it anymore. My head hurts. Lu Xiaohu turned around and saw the three apprentices behind him laughing at him. Damn, what are you guys laughing at? Nothing. Eldest senior brother is mighty, Wang Xiaoran said hurriedly. Yes, eldest senior brother is mighty and domineering. Invincible, the skinny guy flattered. Bullshit. Master is much more powerful than me. You guys are not being honest, right? Add an hour of Zama. These apprentices were on the verge of tears, and Lu Xiaohu's anger was finally vented. But he still couldn't figure out how Master could drive away these hooligans from the royal guards. If only Sister Lin Yuicheng was here. She would definitely be able to guess it. Even if the military counselor was here, the military counselor was resourceful. He should be able to figure out Master's thoughts. No, I have to ask. Lu Xiaohu thought for a long time. Who should he ask about this? Let's look for Jiang Yi. She's pretty smart. But Lu Xiaohu didn't want to look for her. He would definitely be laughed at by her. Yes, he couldn't look for this girl, even if he was beaten to death. Should he ask Morong AI? Master's sister-in-law seemed to be quite smart. She should be fine, right? Yes. Lu Xiaohu thought of this and went to Morong AI's room. Li Fan specially prepared an entertainment room for the two little girls. Inside, there were computers and game consoles. It was convenient for the two little girls to play. The two girls had nothing to do but sit together and play games every day, which saved Li Fan a lot of trouble. Bottom lane. Come and support me from the bottom lane. Wait, I'm farming. Dragon Girl. What happened to being invincible in the jungle? Ahem. Wait for a while. The two girls played passionately. Lu Xiaohu stood at the door and watched for a long time, feeling that there was no room for him to interrupt. He hesitated for a while and left the room. It was better to ask Imperial Concubine Zhou. Maybe she would know. At this time, Imperial Concubine Zhou was sitting on the balcony on the second floor. She would come here at this time every day to collect qi. For Imperial Concubine Zhou, because she practiced the 9 Buddha Sutra, she had to keep absorbing other people's life force to survive. Under Li Fan's control, she could only go outside every day to absorb some sporadic life force to replenish herself. Absorbing a little every day could at most reduce the lifespan of the people nearby by 1 or 2 years. Moreover, with Imperial Concubine Zhou's current strength, her absorption area could cover the entire G city. In this way, not only could she maintain her life, but she could also slowly increase her strength. Not only that, she also absorbed some vitality from Li Fan through dual cultivation, allowing her true qi to evolve. The current Imperial Concubine, Zhou, seemed to have the prestige of the undying evil Buddha of the past. That Imperial Concubine, sorry to disturb you, Lu Xiaohu came to the balcony on the second floor and looked at Imperial concubine Zhou sitting on the second floor. He couldn't help but feel a little timid. Although he had lived in the dojo for a while, Lu Xiaohu was still a little afraid of Imperial concubine Zhou. This woman, he heard that she used to be a very scary person. I must be more sincere in my attitude. I mustn't make her angry. Imperial concubine, do you have time? I have something to ask. Speak. Imperial concubine Zhou was still sitting there, with her back facing Lu Xiaohu. He had to say that this imperial concubine was not only beautiful, but her voice was also very pleasant to hear. That Lu Xiaohu was usually bold, but in front of imperial concubine Zhou, he was very timid. Come forward and speak. Imperial concubine Zhou's voice came again. Is this empress very scary? No. Lu Xiaohu did not dare to explain. He hurriedly walked forward and then knelt beside imperial concubine Zhou. Speak. This empress is listening. Chapter 1171. That, I just don't understand. Imperial concubine Zhou, look, there are so many eyesores downstairs. It makes me unhappy, right? Lu Xiaohu adjusted his state of mind and pointed at the royal guard below. Of course. Imperial concubine Zhou coldly snorted. If it weren't for Li Fan, I would have turned them all into bones. Lu Xiaohu's heart was beating fast. This woman is really dangerous, but Master told me today that he already has a way to drive these people away. Oh, really? Imperial concubine Zhou thought for a moment. I think I know. This Li Fan really likes to cause trouble. It's much more convenient to just kill them. Imperial concubine, you already thought of it? Of course. Imperial concubine Zhou seemed to be talking about a trivial matter. Li Fan wants to lead these people away. Led? Well, you'll know tonight. But this method is really troublesome. I also think that it's better to directly defeat them. Lu Xiaohu was also a relatively direct and brainless person. This bunch of dogs, I really want to beat them up. I can understand what you're thinking. Imperial concubine Zhou said slowly. But since Li Fan has decided, you should be more obedient. Don't ruin your master's plan, understand? Yes. Lu Xiaohu did not dare to say half a word and immediately nodded in agreement. Well, go down. I'm going to continue to collect qi. Yes, Imperial concubine. Lu Xiaohu went back to continue training apprentices. At the same time, he muttered in his heart, why do they all like to keep me guessing? So annoying. Lu Xiaohu was a little crazy. For the first time, he felt that this day was so difficult. Why is it not night yet? Lu Xiaohu was so anxious that it was finally night. After entering the night, Li Fan ordered the dojo to turn off the lights early. Even the apprentices were allowed to rest early. But Lu Xiaohu could not sleep. He sat in the living room, still thinking about what strategy his master would use. At this time, he saw his master coming out of the room. With every step he took, his figure changed a little. Soon, his body became slender and delicate, no different from Jin Hisao's. After that, Li Fan put on Jin Hisao's hoodie over his head and jumped out of the window. Lu Xiaohu instantly understood. So that's how it is. Master was too cunning, actually playing such a trick to lure the tiger away from the mountain. Di Wuliang and the others waited for half a month, but there was still no movement from the Seven Heroes Martial Arts School. It was as if Jin Jiumao really didn't exist. However, Di Wuliang had seen Jin Hisao enter the dojo with his own eyes. He believed that as long as he waited, he would definitely be able to catch the thief. Just as Di Wuliang yawned, he saw a familiar figure jump out of the back window of the dojo. Su Hisao, you're finally here, Di Wuliang sneered. Brothers, follow her, don't let her escape. The surrounding men in black suits all got into action and followed Di Wuliang. They leaped onto roofs and vaulted over walls, chasing after Jin Hisao's figure. After chasing for a while, Di Wuliang felt a little depressed. Jin Hisao's lightness skill was so good that she leaped from building to building. A group of royal guards were chasing closely behind her, but they couldn't catch up. Iron Claw Unit, attack from the left. Di Wuliang ordered through the walkie-talkie, and the royal guards on the left quickly jumped up. Jin Hisao jumped from the side of the building, somersaulted in the air, and landed on the opposite side. The royal guards on the left also followed. They stood at the edge of the building and threw their claws at Jin Hisao. 10 claws grabbed at Jin Kyumo at the same time, but Jin Kyumo suddenly kicked with his left foot and used the Wudong cloud ladder to dodge the claws below. Then he successfully landed on the opposite building. However, Di Wuliang had already taken advantage of this time to block the building with more than 10 royal guards, waiting for Jin Hisao to fall into the trap. Jin Hisao landed right in the middle of the royal guards' encirclement. Each of the royal guards carried a long saber and rushed forward, slashing at Jin Hisao. "Don't kill her. I want her alive." Di Wuliang was very happy. After capturing Jin Hisao, he wanted to get information about Yi Jian from her. Once he captured Yi Jian, he would have made a great contribution. At that time, let alone a vehicle-level officer, he might even become a horse-level officer. Jin Hisao, Yi Jian, they were all bargaining chips for his meteoric rise. These royal guards were soldiers that had been enhanced by the government's advanced technology. They were all from 4 great families and had a chip implanted in their bodies. It was said that this was a high-grade chip jointly developed by the United States and China. It could enhance the skills of the human body and activate the attributes of a human body to the most perfect state. Di Wuliang had such a chip in his body, but the attributes on it were only at the canon level. Although these royal guards had submitted to the government, they had also taken the energy-dispersing pill. Only with the use of the chip could they become stronger. When they increased in level, the attributes of the chip would also increase, and they would become stronger. This was the strategy of the government to control the royal guards. They could use the chip to strengthen the royal guards, but they could also use the chip to destroy them. Once the royal guards went out of control, they would just have to press a button and they would be destroyed. At this moment, these soldier-level royal guards surrounded Jin Hisao and tried to capture her. However, Jin Hisao used a mantis fist and directly knocked down a royal guard who had rushed in front of her. Di Wuliang looked at his subordinate with a bloody hole in his head expressionlessly. It didn't matter if his subordinates died. Their deaths wouldn't be in vain. They would only help him climb higher. Jin Hisao was indeed an officer of Yi Jian. Her martial arts were not bad, and she had already killed 4 royal guards in an instant. Her mantis fist was vicious and extremely fatal, and the surrounding royal guards could not even get close to her. A bunch of trash. Di Wuliang was a little unhappy. After so long, they still could not capture a young lady. He was about to step forward and take action himself, but the other party suddenly rose from the ground, stepped on the heads of a few royal guards, and used Qinggong to quickly escape. "Where do you think you're going?" Di Wuliang panicked. It was not easy to reach this stage, so he must not let her escape. Di Wuliang drew his sword and threw a ray of sword qi at Jin Hisao's figure in midair. However, Jin Hisao's Qinggong was too powerful, and in an instant, she was tens of meters away. She could not catch up at all. Damn it! Damn it! Di Wuliang cursed angrily. "You bunch of useless trash. You actually let her escape. What the hell are you all doing?" "Sir, what should we do now?" Slap. Di Wuliang slapped his subordinate. "Trash. Return to the military first. Then make a decision." Chapter 1172. Li Fan played a trick and successfully tricked the Imperial Army away from his dojo. Early the next morning, there was no Imperial Guards in front of the 7 Heroes Martial Arts School. However, before Li Fan could relax, General Ran, the person in charge of the 12 Heavenly Generals, sent 2 sentries to stand guard in front of his martial arts school. "What do you mean?" Li Fan held the phone and said in a bad tone, "I just sent away a group of brats, and you invited 2 Buddhas for me." "Major Li, you misunderstood. They are here to protect you," General Ran explained. "Now the people above want to deal with you. Aren't I helping you? You think you can help me with just 2 soldiers? They're definitely not as powerful as you, but their existence can be used to warn those who want to deal with you. Besides, they are your own people. Why are you unhappy? You're a cadre of the military, right? What's wrong with giving you 2 guards? Can't you give me 2 female guards?" "Little Li, you just became a colonel at such a young age. You have some achievements, but you are already thinking of corruption. General Rand criticized Li Fan bitterly. You have disappointed the organization. Then please fire me from the organization. But considering that you are unmarried and full of vigor, it is not impossible for the organization to accommodate you. That afternoon, there were 2 female soldiers in front of Li Fan's door. Li Fan was dumbfounded. He was just joking, but he didn't expect to get 2 female soldiers. In Li Fan's mind, there should be 2 types of female soldiers. The first type was black and ugly. They were strong and could fight against 8 men alone. The other type was the artistic soldiers, who specialized in pleasing the leaders. They were beautiful but useless. But the 2 female soldiers in front of him were obviously different. One of them had fair skin and a ponytail. The other had wheat-colored skin and short hair. No matter which one, both of them had an outstanding aura, and they were both beauties. It was amazing that the military could find 2 such female soldiers. Guard by Shui of the Red Arrow Brigade, reporting to Captain Li. Red Arrow Brigade, Guard Zhao Yin reporting to Officer Li. Of the 2 female soldiers, one had a soft voice while the other had a sharp and experienced voice. They had different tastes. Red Arrow Brigade. What is that? Li Fan had never heard of this unit. Li Fan saw that the wheat-skinned Zhao Yin curled her lips. Bai Shui seemed to be quite patient and explained everything to Li Fan. Sir, the Red Arrow Brigade is a special unit created by Commander Rand. The special forces in this unit were all elites drawn from the various units below them. After many rounds of selection, they were finally implanted with the Dragon chip. The mission of the Red Arrow Brigade is to protect the safety of the leaders and carry out various secret missions. Red Arrow Brigade. All female soldiers? Zhao Yin seemed to be pouting again. Yes, sir. Bai Shui nodded, and Li Fan immediately got the wrong idea. It's not what you think, sir. Zhao Yin finally opened her mouth to speak. Although she maintained her indifference, there was still a bit of sarcasm in her voice that could not be suppressed. The purpose of female soldiers is to make the enemy lose their guard. When they think that we are harmless, we will be like a poisonous thorn, directly stabbing into the enemy's heart. It sounds quite powerful, but what the hell is this dragon chip? Li Fan did not want to argue with a little girl. Perhaps he was the lowest-ranked officer that she had ever served. Female Bodyguard Brigade. Li Fan somewhat admired General Rand's new idea. This made Li Fan think of a Hong Kong movie that he had watched before, Overlord Flower. The Dragon chip is the latest technology, specially used to increase the human body's potential. Bai Shui said, after implanting it into the human body, it can increase the individual's combat ability. The chip is divided into 7 levels: General, Soldier, Carriage, Artillery, and Soldier. I know. So the Royal Army is also equipped with this thing? Yes, sir. Then we're the levels of the 2 of you. Sir, both of us have implanted vehicle-level chips. The 2 female soldiers reported. Vehicle level. Li Fan had fought with the Royal Guards yesterday. The strength of the ordinary soldiers of the Royal Guards was around the impeccable realm, and the Cannon Level D Wuliang should have the strength to reach the next level. If it is vehicle level, will he have the strength to reach the peak? It should be impossible. If it is like this, then how high would the general level be? Wouldn't they be invincible? They should have their own strength assessment method. Li Fan is very interested to try it. Jiang Yi. Li Fan ordered. His second disciple came from the side and respectfully stood at the side. Can the 2 of you let my disciple spar with you? Li Fan politely asked. The 2 of you can use your full strength. No need to be lenient. Is this an order? Bai Shui was somewhat surprised and did not answer. When Zhao Yin reacted, she directly asked, well, just take it as an order. Li Fan nodded his head. Sir, then let me do it. Zhao Yin volunteered as if she knew that Bai Shui would be lenient. Li Fan stood there and signaled Zhao Yin to do as she pleased. Zhao Yin did not stand on ceremony. Even if the opponent is young, she does not mind. A soldier's duty is to obey. She took a step forward and stretched out her hand to capture Jiang Yilai. But Jiang Yi's shoulder shook and shook Zhao Yan's hand away. Huh? Zhao Yin was surprised. But she is after all a professional soldier. Although her hand was pushed away, she moved her body to the side and directly went behind Jiang Yi and kicked her calf. Although their physique has been strengthened, they are still trained in the military's fighting techniques. Li Fan saw it clearly and did not give any advice to Jiang Yi. Instead, he wanted to see how she would counterattack. However, Jiang Yi was not flustered. She turned around nimbly and stuck out her leg to block her kick. Zhao Yin frowned. This should be the first time she is dealing with a martial practitioner. How strong a martial practitioner is, Zhao Yin probably does not know. But Zhao Yin is after all a special force trained by the Red Arrow Brigade. Her leg was locked, but she waved her hand and hit Jiang Ye's throat. Jiang Yi used the snake strike technique to the extreme. She used her right hand to block Zhao Yan's hand and at the same time stabbed her throat, changing from defense to offense. Zhao Yan was more and more surprised. She felt that she is dealing with a terrifying poisonous snake. Her other hand slapped upwards, trying to block Jiang Ye's attack. However, Jiang Yi retracted his palm and then spat out an invisible wave that struck Zhao Yan's body. Zhao Yan was pushed away by this wave and was shocked. This is true qi, more or less. Li Fan nodded and made a gesture of thanks to Zhao Yan. Let's stop here. You have worked hard. Chapter 1173. Li Fan let Jiang Yi fight with Zhao Yan for a while, and he had already deduced her strength. She was in the middle stage of the Ascended Realm. However, she only had strength. Her fighting skills were more suitable for killing people and completing missions. But thinking about it, there were not many people who could defeat Jiang Yi here. After losing to Liu Xiaohu last time, Jiang Yi trained herself even harder and became more abnormal. Even Li Fan couldn't imagine that training herself alone could be so abnormal. No matter what, with two girls guarding his door, Li Fan was quite satisfied. Identity, this was identity. However, the two girls were only on duty during the day, and they only needed to rest at night. After all, it was just a facade, and they couldn't stand guard day and night. But General Ran arranged for the two girls to spend the night at Li Fan's place. In General Ran's words, Li Fan rented a small apartment behind the martial arts center, which was specifically for the apprentices to use as a dormitory. There were still other places to live, and it wasn't a problem to have two more girls. Jean Jioma and the others also lived there, and the accommodation was not bad. You too, do you want to learn some simple attack skills for me? One day after the Lantern Festival, Li Fan suddenly became interested and asked the two girls. After all, there was nothing for the past few days, and the Martial Arts Association was also very calm and didn't come looking for him for the past 2 days. However, Li Fan estimated that it would probably only be a few days. If this continued, the Martial Arts Association would lose face. And how could they open the Martial Arts Center? Sir, that's not good. Bai Shui was a little embarrassed. After all, they were ordered to protect Li Fan, but in the end, they still needed Li Fan to teach them how to practice martial arts. There's no need, sir. Zhao Yin didn't seem to want to learn. We have our own way. Your fancy moves are not suitable for us. In Zhao Yan's heart, she still seemed to look down on martial artists. Last time you fought with my disciple, do you still think martial arts is just a trick? Li Fan wasn't angry. People had a lot of misunderstandings about martial arts, and this was a habit formed for decades, and it needed to be slowly changed. I was careless last time, but if you wanted to kill her, I can do it. Zhao Yin spoke her mind. Li Fan smiled. Although what Zhao Yin said was the truth, she didn't understand Jiang Ye's strength. This girl, Jiang Yi, was the real little princess of assassination. In that case, let's play a game. Sir, we're still standing guard. Zhao Yin silently rolled her eyes. It won't take up any time. Don't you have time tonight? I'll explain the rules of the game and see if you're interested. Sir, please speak. Bai Shui's temper was much better, and Li Fan was happy to talk to her. It was much better than talking to Zhao Yin. Zhao Yin talked to him every day as if she had eaten gunpowder. She was filled with anger. Although they were all soldiers trained by the same team, their personalities were still very different. Let me ask you something first. When the two of you were in the army, your overall strength was about the same, right? Yes. White Snow nodded. How about this? White Snow, I'll teach you for 2 days. After 2 days, you and Zhao Yan will have a match to see who's stronger. How about it? What's the bet? Zhao Yin seemed to be interested. If White Snow wins, then you'll learn from me. Li Fan was very excited. If you win, I'll agree to let the two of you go, so that you won't be bored in my small dojo. How about it? Okay. Zhao Yin immediately agreed. When they were in the army, although their overall strength was about the same, but in terms of fighting ability, she never won against him. This time, Li Fan will definitely lose. This can't be blamed on me. It's Li Fan who is seeking death. Zhao Yin was unhappy for a few days, but today she was finally a little happier. Okay, then let's start tonight. Li Fan raised 2 fingers, 2 days' time. After 2 days, we'll see the result in the dojo. Yes, sir. Li Fan felt that Zhao Yan's reply was very straightforward. This girl, how much does she hate him? What are you doing? Imperial concubine Zhou leisurely walked out from the courtyard. She was wearing a white traditional Chinese dress, with her hair coiled into a bun with a red jade phoenix hairpin. This imperial concubine's steps were light and her posture was languid. This was the so-called thousands of amorous feelings that could cause the downfall of a city. Hearing the movement outside the courtyard, she stopped and looked at Li Fan. Seeing that he was happily chatting with the 2 female soldiers, she could not help but feel jealous. This guy doesn't even let the female soldiers go. I'm chatting with them. Li Fan explained, let's talk about, academic issues. Nonsense. Imperial concubine Zhou gently rolled her eyes at Li Fan. Obviously, she didn't believe his words. These few days, there are some things in the club that this concubine needs to deal with. Without this concubine here, you have to be careful. Imperial concubine Zhou seemed to be worried and warned Li Fan. What are you afraid of? What can happen to me? Li Fan laughed. I have someone above me. So you're saying that this concubine's concern is unnecessary? Imperial concubine Zhou's question made Li Fan speechless. Well, your concern is right. Li Fan cupped his hands. My imperial concubine, you are the Guanyin Bodhisattva that saves all living beings, beautiful and generous. Quickly take a rest. Imperial concubine Zhou almost laughed. Only a ghost would believe you. Quickly go and chat. Yes, Imperial concubine. Li Fan's respectful appearance made the 2 female soldiers unable to restrain their laughter. I don't care about you anymore. This concubine will go first. If there's anything else, let's talk later. Imperial concubine Zhou said. She shook off Yin Luoxiao, and with a light step, her whole body suddenly soared into the sky. In the blink of an eye, she jumped more than 5 meters high and landed on the opposite 2nd floor. Then she stomped her feet and jumped from the 2nd floor. In a flash, she jumped above another martial arts building 7 meters away. After a few teleportations, she had already disappeared, leaving behind 2 dumbfounded female soldiers. This is Qin Gong? Zhao Yin could not help but ask. Zhao Yin. At this time, Bai Shui became serious. She fiercely glared at Zhao Yin, hinting her to overstep. I'm sorry, senior officer. I spoke too much. Zhao Yin quickly apologized. It doesn't matter. This is nothing that can't be said. Li Fan waved his hand. It is indeed Qin Gong. Every martial artist's most basic skill. Unbelievable. Zhao Yin was slightly lost in thought. She still can't believe this fact. You used the dragon chip, but you can't use Qin Gong? The dragon chip only enhances our functions. If you want me to jump 3 meters high, I can do it. But for me to jump so gracefully, like moving clouds and flowing water, this is something that I absolutely cannot do. Do you want to learn? It's useless to learn an escaping skill. Unexpectedly, Zhao Yin once again refused Li Fan. Chapter 1174. Where's Zhao Yin? Li Fan looked at Bai Shui in white sportswear, standing in front of him, and casually asked. After Zhao Yin rejected him for the 2nd time in the day, Li Fan waited until nighttime. Sure enough, Bai Shui was waiting for him in the training hall. This valiant female soldier, after wearing the white sportswear, looked clean and graceful. Her soft body and figure made Li Fan feel that she was very good. Especially this girl's character. She was much gentler than Zhao Yin. As long as she was obedient, it would be easy for him to train her. No, it would be easy for him to teach her. Officer, what do I want to learn, Qinggong? Bai Shui was still confused. No, it is indeed useless for you to learn Qinggong, Li Fan explained. I also do not intend to teach you complicated internal energy. First of all, you can't learn it in 2 days, and after you learn it, it will not be good for your identity. The country has a ban on martial arts. I think you know about it. Yes, I have heard about it. And so, what I want to teach you is relatively simple. Release force. Release force? Bai Shui did not understand these terms from Li Fan, but looking at Bai Shui, it made Li Fan have a feeling of returning to the past. At that time, when he was a beginner in martial arts, standing in front of Murong Ying, it was probably the same scene. Yes, to describe it, it is a kind of release force technique. Li Fan said as he placed his palm on the wooden stake beside him. Suddenly, a burst of energy erupted from the wooden stake. The stake was directly broken into 2 pieces and flew far away. This is release force. It can make your attack more powerful. So powerful. Bai Shui was a little surprised. Although she also has the ability to break the wooden stake with 1 punch, release force is obviously a second attack. The effect is not too good. After you hit the enemy, add another release force. I don't need to explain the effect, right? Li Fan stood there with his arms crossed, looking at Bai Shui, giving her a feeling of looking up at a tall mountain. Really strange. This youth, he obviously looks young. Why does he have such courage? When he was in the military, he had met many leaders. Some of the generals also had the same aura as Li Fan. That was the domineering aura of someone who had been on the battlefield for a long time. No one dared to look directly at him. Can I learn this? Bai Shui's tone was a bit more respectful. She couldn't help but be respectful towards this youth. Just by standing there, he was like a mountain. Of course, 2 days is enough. Li Fan gave Bai Shui a trustworthy smile. You have the dragon chip in your body, so learning force activation should be a piece of cake. However, I'm curious. Does this dragon chip not have any side effects when it comes to increasing your combat power? There are no side effects. White Snow said confidently, "This is the dragon chip that I created after many experiments. However, the dragon chip is completely controlled by the higher-ups. If I show any signs of rebellion, the dragon chip will be shut down immediately. When that happens, my strength will return to the ranks of ordinary special forces soldiers." So that's how it is. What a forceful method of control. Li Fan finally understood why this thing was so powerful. In this way, all combat power was truly in the hands of the government, unlike the pugilistic world, which was always in an uncontrollable state. No wonder the doves were so confident that they could destroy the pugilistic world. It turned out that they had a card up their sleeve. The super soldiers created by the dragon chip could indeed resist the special forces of various countries in some ways. However, Bai Shui's method of increasing combat power alone was probably not enough. Li Fan thought to himself, the government should have prepared other things, right? Other than the dragon chip, do you have any other equipment? I heard that it's being developed, but I don't know the specifics. Bai Shui shook her head. Sir, I'm just a small soldier after all. That's true. This kind of information should be inquired from General Ran. All right, let's not talk about this anymore. I'll continue to teach you force activation. Li Fan smiled. We'll be depending on you to win the day after tomorrow. Don't be too affectionate when the time comes. Bai Shui blushed at his words and immediately emphasized, Sir, don't worry. When carrying out a mission, the mission is the most important. I'm just saying, don't take it seriously, huh? Li Fan laughed. This Bai Shui was really cute. Thank you, sir. Don't mention it. Just learn from me. Li Fan didn't sleep for the first half of the night. He spent all his time teaching Bai Shui how to force activation. He didn't want to disturb her rest too much, so Li Fan let her go back to rest in the second half of the night. The two of them started standing guard at 5 in the morning every day. Li Fan said that he would give Bai Shui an hour off and let her sleep a little longer, but she refused. It seemed that soldiers were all inflexible in this aspect. Li Fan respected Bai Shui and didn't force her. Early the next morning, after Li Fan woke up, he heard a commotion outside. What's wrong? Li Fan pushed open the door and walked out. The people in the dojo weren't practicing, but had gone outside. Li Fan went out to take a look. Sure enough, a group of martial artists had surrounded the dojo, but with two female soldiers standing at the door, they didn't dare to do anything. What's wrong? Why is it so noisy so early in the morning? After Li Fan came out, he immediately saw the most conspicuous red-clothed baldy. Master Li. Even the bald man had to admit defeat this time. Master Li, this is the invitation. The bald man stood in front of the dojo with a few of his juniors, attracting the attention of passers-by. Who opened this dojo? It was always so crowded. Oh, treat me to a meal? Li Fan took the invitation. Master Li is invited to participate in our association's 9 levels arena. 9 levels arena? Li Fan raised an eyebrow. What was this? The president said that as long as you can fight in the 9 levels arena, you can open a dojo here without any conditions. Xiaohu was at the side. When he heard this, he stepped forward and wanted to beat the bald man in red, but was stopped by Li Fan. Although Lu Xiaohu was young and not tall, when he was angry, his eyes would stare like bells and his hair would tremble. He looked like a ferocious tiger that was about to devour someone. The bald man in red looked at the furious Lu Xiaohu and shivered, not daring to step forward. Xiaohu, what are you doing? Li Fan reprimanded his eldest disciple. Master, who do they think they are? How dare they talk to you like this? Lu Xiaohu was extremely unhappy with these bastards. This dojo was too bumpy. This group of fellows had gone too far. All right, it's a good opportunity to meet the president of the Martial Arts Association. Li Fan had a smile on his face. He had already planned for this and was just waiting for these people to come knocking on his door. With this invitation card, he would be able to completely dismiss those people who knew martial arts. Go back and tell the president that I agree to this matter. Chapter 1175. Li Fan did not bring Lu Xiaohu with him to the banquet and the arena. He was still young and had a bad temper. He still needed more training. Li Fan was afraid that he would beat up the president of the Martial Arts Association if he could not control himself. It was really inappropriate. At noon, Li Fan brought Jiang Yi to the Fuguei restaurant on the street to attend the banquet hosted by the president of the association, Yang Yi. Jiang Yi followed beside Li Fan like a little follower, still holding the extraordinary sword for Li Fan. Although he was the second disciple, he was more like the disciple holding the sword. The Fuguei restaurant was not small. It was located on the side of the street. The decoration was quite ancient, with red bricks and green tiles, as if it was a restaurant from the ancient times. In G City, there were many ancient buildings with the same style, which had the flavor of the previous dynasty. On the red signboard, there were 4 shining golden words, attracting the customers who came and went. 2 beautiful waitresses in Chong Sams stood at the door. They were tall and exquisite with light makeup. When the 2 of them saw Li Fan, they bowed to him in unison, making Li Fan mistakenly think that they were the nobles of the past. Welcome, sir. That delicate voice sounded in Li Fan's ears, making him feel like his bones were about to go limp. The people in this restaurant really knew how to do things. It was hard not to enter. However, restaurants like this usually cost a lot. After all, one could not only enjoy the food here, but also the unique service. However, what spoiled the mood was that there were 4 strong martial artists standing next to the 2 palace beauties. The 4 of them seemed to be born from the same mother. Each of them was huge and had a fierce look in their eyes, like the Hulk walking out of a film set. Are you Master Li from the 7 Heroes Martial Arts School? A strong man with a purple birthmark on his face looked at Li Fan and asked in a muffled voice. His voice sounded like he was hitting a broken cowhide drum, making people feel uncomfortable. Yes, Li Yi. As soon as Li Fan finished speaking, Jiang Yi, who was behind him, stepped forward and handed over a red invitation card. The burly man looked at Jiang Yi again. This girl was wearing the black and red martial arts uniform of the 7 Heroes Dojo. She also wore a black mask on her face to hide her identity. When she was outside, she had to cover her face with a mask. This was the rule that Li Fan had set for Jiang Yi. Right now, the entire Jianghu was filled with Murong's informants. Li Fan didn't want to complicate matters. Master Li, please go upstairs. With a hoarse voice, the burly man extended his hand in invitation. Li Fan was about to go upstairs when the burly man suddenly stretched out his hand and stopped Jiang Yi. What for? Jiang Yi's voice was cold as he questioned. Only Master Li is invited on the invitation card. The rest of you can wait here. Ridiculous. Jiang Yi sneered in disdain. She instantly reached out and grabbed the man's neck. A petite little girl was able to lift this 9-meter tall, brawny man into the air with one hand. The burly man's face turned red. He kicked with all his might like a trapped beast. He kept struggling, but he couldn't break free from Jiang Yi's small hand. The 3 martial masters at the side were shocked. Just as they were about to step forward to help, Jiang Yi coldly scolded. Whoever dares to step forward, I will twist his neck. The burly man waved his hand with all his might. The other 3 martial masters stopped in their tracks, not knowing what to do. At this time, the door of the restaurant was pushed open. A man wearing gold-rimmed glasses and a white trench coat stood there and looked outside. Master Li, what is the meaning of this? May I know who you are? Li Fan pretended to be ignorant. The other party immediately frowned. I am the eldest disciple of the president, Jiang Hu. This restaurant is also my property. Jiang Hu looked at Li Fan with a bit of anger. We, master and disciple, have good intentions. We wanted to entertain Master Li for a banquet. We didn't expect Master Li to be so overbearing, instructing your disciple to hit someone. Did I? Did I hit someone? Li Fan looked at Jiang Yi in surprise. Little Yi, did you hit him? No, I just saw that his clothes were dirty, so I helped him clean it up. After saying that, Jiang Yi patted the burly man's chest twice and then put him back on the ground. You see, my disciple also had good intentions. He helped your people clean up the dust. How can you accuse us of hitting someone? The burly man was like a survivor of a disaster. He clutched his neck and squatted on the ground, gasping for breath. He never felt that the air smelled so good. Life, I want to give you a thumbs up. Jiang Hu was speechless. He originally thought that he was just a young man who was easy to deal with. He didn't expect the other party to be so shameless, making him helpless. Since it's a misunderstanding, let's invite Master Li upstairs. Look, someone who runs a big restaurant is so generous. Li Fan pulled Jiang Yi's arm. Let's go. Little Yi, he invited us, master and disciple, to a banquet. We can't neglect him. Let's go upstairs. All right. Thank you, Boss Jiang. Thank you, Boss Jiang. Jiang Yi followed his master's thoughts and bowed to Jiang Hu. Jiang Hu's body trembled slightly. The other party had already said it like this. How could he refuse? Then please, the 2 of you. Jiang Hu extended her hand and invited the master and disciple to go upstairs. Li Fan swaggered to the 2nd floor. The entire 2nd floor was booked. There were more than 20 tables, but most of them were empty. Only 2 tables were occupied. One table was occupied by 2 old men. One had white hair and a youthful face. He wore a white robe and held a pipe in his hand. The other had white sideburns. He looked handsome and extraordinary. He wore a suit. He looked at Li Fan with disdain. The table next to him was also filled with martial artists. They seemed to be the curators of the various martial arts schools. Because of the different martial arts they practiced, everyone's physique was different. Some had long hands, some had long legs. Some were short, some were strong. It was rare to see so many martial artists gathered in one place. However, everyone looked at Li Fan with hostility. This was a common point. Master Li, let me introduce you. This is the president of the Martial Arts Association. He is also my master, Yang Yi, a master of the Baji sect. The old man with the pipe nodded at Li Fan with a smile. No one could tell what he was thinking. Next to him is Chun Yuan Chao, Mr. Chun, a Wing Chun master and the president of the Wing Chun Association. Humph! The old man with white sideburns snorted. He didn't seem to want to talk to Li Fan. This is Master Zhang from the Flying Dragon Martial School. This is Master Wang from the 100 Victories Martial School. This is the Guangming Martial School. Jiang Hu was familiar with these people. He introduced everyone's name to Li Fan. Friendly Fan, please sit. After the introduction, Yang Yi tapped his pipe and pointed at the seat in front of him. He said to Li Fan, "Thank you." Li Fan strode forward. When he was about to sit down, Master Zhang from the Flying Dragon Martial Arts School pounded the table, stood up, and scolded him. "President Yang, you are generous, but we can't. He has no seniority. Why should he sit at the same table with you?" Chapter 1176. Master Zhang slammed the table, and the sound reverberated throughout the room. "President Yang, we all know that you are magnanimous, but we can't. This Li Fan has no seniority. What right does he have to sit at the same table as you two?" Master Zhang's voice was like a bell ringing throughout the room. The surrounding martial artists nodded their heads in agreement. "That's right. He doesn't have the right to sit here. Don't mention President Yang's table. He doesn't even have a right to sit at our table." The surrounding people started to complain. However, Li Fan's expression was calm. It was hard to tell whether he was happy or angry on his young face. Hearing these people's complaints, Li Fan only cupped his hands. "Everyone, since you don't welcome me, then I will leave." With that, Li Fan turned to go downstairs. Jiang Hu jumped in fright and hurriedly stopped Li Fan. Master Li, please wait. You young man, how can you leave after saying a few words, then? If you want to sit, then sit." These martial artists immediately changed their words. If Li Fan left, wouldn't today's matter be a failure? Master Zhang, who was shouting happily just now, was now flushed red. It was as if he didn't know which crack he should crawl into. This was too embarrassing. Li Fan had the cards in his hands. If he wanted to leave, he could leave. His words just now were meant to humiliate Li Fan. But now, it turned out to be humiliating himself. "Young friend, don't be angry. People who practice martial arts are straightforward. Come, sit down. The dishes are getting cold." This old man Yang's words were pleasant to hear, but no one knew what he was thinking in his heart, and Li Fan had achieved the effect he wanted. Without hesitation, he sat opposite Yang Yi and Chun Yuan Chao. "Young friend, you are young and promising. It's really rare. Let me toast you." President Yang raised his wine cup. Li Fan did not bat an eyelid. He also raised his wine cup and started talking nonsense. "President Yang is too courteous. Your name is known throughout the 9 states. Sometimes I would dream of you when I sleep. I would be moved by your might and charm. You are a role model for martial artists, a treasure of China." When these words were spoken, even Jiang Hu, who was serving at the side, could not help but curse in her heart. "Damn it, so shameless. Friendly, you're so young, yet you're already so skilled in martial arts. I wonder who your teacher is?" Whether it was in the pugilistic world or the world of dojos, the master was very important. This was called seniority. No matter who your teacher was, even if it was a third-rate martial master, as long as you had a good background, you would have a certain status in the Jianghu. But if you relied on yourself and didn't have a master, then you would be looked down upon wherever you went. This Li Fan had originally learned some basics from Murong Ying, and then blazed a new path on his own, creating a martial arts path. Even if he said that his master was Murong Ying, these people probably wouldn't recognize her. However, this was not a problem for Li Fan. He rolled his eyes and got the answer. "My master has passed away for many years. I really don't want to talk about him. So he has passed away. However, it's human nature to grow old and die of illness. You and I can't escape this trial. Friendly, who is your teacher?" Old Yang did not want to let Li Fan go just like that. Today, he had to show his strength and humiliate Li Fan. "My master's surname is Hua." Li Fan chuckled. "Mr. Hua? Is it Hua Jingxiong of Hong Fist or Hua Huanbei of Xingyi Fist?" Old Yang mentioned 2 names. These 2 people were his good friends. If Li Fan dared to pretend to be them, he would definitely expose Li Fan and make him feel ashamed. "Neither. My master's surname is Hua, and his name is Tuo. He practices 5 animal frolics." Li Fan's words made everyone dumbfounded. "Hua Tuo? Didn't Hua Tuo die a long time ago?" Li Fan did say that his master had passed away many years ago. In the introduction of Li Fan's martial arts school, it said that his kung fu came from 5 animal frolics. Saying that Hua Tuo was his master did not seem wrong. This, you can't just say that, Jiang Hu asked tentatively. Why can't it be counted? President Yang asked me who my master is. I indeed learned 5 animal frolics from Mr. Hua. A teacher teaches and dispels doubts. What do you think is wrong? Li Fan's sophistry left everyone speechless. Even Jiang Hu, who had worked hard in the business world for many years, admired his sophistry. This guy is awesome. Everyone, is there anything else you want to know? The smile on Li Fan's face made everyone hate him. However, they could only grit their teeth in private and did not dare to say anything. Friend Li Fan is indeed a great teacher and disciple. I admire you. It seemed that President Yang was in a good mood. He was not angry or irritable. He was still smiling and drinking with Li Fan. What a load of nonsense. At this time, Chun Yuanxiao, who was sitting next to them, could not sit still anymore. He pointed at Li Fan's nose and scolded. Your kung fu is not good, but your ability to make up lies is quite good. It's really bad luck to have a dog like you in the martial arts school. Everyone's spirits rose. They thought to themselves, all right, the real show is finally here. Li Fan, who was acting like a good guy, suddenly darkened his face. Xiao Yi, slap yourself. As soon as he finished speaking, Jiang Yi stepped on the table and used his leg to slap Chun Yuanxiao's face. Chun Yuanxiao did not even have a chance to react. He flew out and smashed the table next to him. Then he passed out. Jiang Yi appeared behind Li Fan again and poured him a glass of wine as if he had never left. For a moment, it was as if everyone in the room was dead. Not a single sound could be heard. What happened? The plot is not right. It's not arranged like this. Is the script wrong? Not to mention the fact that Li Fan turned hostile and directly slapped Elder Chun, who played the villain, away. How did the little apprentice make her move? How did Elder Chun get slapped away? Is the senior of Chen's wing Chun Kung Fu? His Kung Fu is superb. How could he be slapped away so easily? I'm sorry. I have a bad temper. I can't stand others scolding me. Li Fan put down the glass and said with a smile, I hit him hard. I'm willing to pay for his hospitalization. Li Fan, you are too arrogant. Master Zhang, who was sitting at the side, could not help but ask with lingering fear in his heart. He originally wanted to curse, but when he saw the masked Jiang Yi and then looked at Elder Chun, who was lying on the ground, he didn't know whether he was dead or alive. He forcefully swallowed back the curse and changed it into a slightly more elegant question. Oh, am I arrogant? Li Fan chuckled. People who practice martial arts make friends through martial arts. Elder Chun might be old, and his kung fu is not good. Why can't he beat my apprentice? By the way, isn't there a 9-heaven challenge today? What does it start? Chapter 1177. Jiang Yi, this little girl, had a calm mind and was much more quick-witted than Li Xiaohu. She knew when to cooperate with him, and she did it perfectly. Everyone was stunned after he knocked Chun Yuanxiao unconscious, and no one dared to act presumptuously again. No one dared to look down on Li Fan. This man had strength and tricks. Most importantly, he seemed to have a background. The surrounding people looked at Li Fan with fear in their eyes. Friendly, what do you mean by this? Mr. Yang's gaze towards Li Fan was not the same as before. He did not expect Li Fan to turn hostile so quickly. If that was the case, he would not be able to continue his act. Everyone may not know me well, so let me explain. Li Fan's voice was not loud, but it was clearly transmitted to everyone's ears. I don't have a good temper. I'll definitely treat you with respect if you want to discuss things with me. But if you want to threaten me, don't blame me for being impolite. After Li Fan finished speaking, he slammed his palm on the table. With a cracking sound, this solid wood table was directly smashed into pieces by Li Fan, causing dust to fly everywhere. Together with the plates and bowls on it, they all fell to the ground with a clatter and shattered into pieces. The faces of everyone in the room turned green. Smashing a solid wood table with one slap. Was this something a human could do? The group of people panicked and felt uneasy. They did not know how to answer Li Fan. President Yang was also someone who had seen great storms. After calming down for a while, he was finally able to speak. Friendly, Why are you angry? Old Chun is just a straightforward person. There's no need to beat him up like this. Looking at Chun Yuan Chao, who was not even sure if he was alive or dead, President Yang felt upset. Don't worry, my disciple knows how to control his strength. He won't die. Li Fan gently comforted them. However, he will have to lie in bed for 10 days to half a month. Leave the medical expenses to me. I can't let Elder Chun get injured for nothing. Li Fan, am not an unreasonable person. Everyone was cursing in their hearts, wishing that they could skin Li Fan alive. However, he could only think about it in his heart. When it reached the tip of his tongue, he swallowed it back down. Li Fan had already flashed his wrist, shocking everyone present. About the 9 arenas, when are we going to start? Li Fan asked. Don't waste everyone's time. Let's finish the fight quickly and go home. This 9 heavenly ring is for you to represent the 7 heroes dojo and fight against the dojo masters of the other 9 dojos. Dojo masters. The dojo masters around him shook their heads like rattle drums. Master Zhang, weren't you the most excited just now? Why don't you do it? No. I've been suffering from leg cold recently, and it hasn't healed yet. Master Wang, I see that you've been quite healthy recently. Why don't you play? How can I do that? It's almost time. I'm in a hurry to pick up my child. My child will be out of school soon. Isn't your child already in his 30s? Adult Night University. President Yang could only sigh. Looks like these people are unreliable. Li Fan only used one palm to make all of them afraid. The situation is hopeless. The situation is hopeless. President Yang sighed in his heart, but he still had to put on a gentle expression. Looks like the dojo masters have already acknowledged you. President Yang cupped his hands towards Li Fan. From today onwards, you are a part of the Martial Arts Association. I hope that you, Li Fan, will continue to work hard for China's martial arts culture. Of course. I won't be able to have dinner today. Come over to my place another day. I'll treat everyone to a drink. After saying that, Li Fan cupped his hands and left without looking back. The moment he left, everyone in the dining hall heaved a sigh of relief. Damn, this is too scary. This Li Fan is too strong. He is not an opponent of the same level. Master, with his strength, could he be an ancient martial arts expert? Jiang Hu suddenly thought of it. Looking at his skill, it's possible. President Yang also analyzed, but if I remember correctly, there should be a ban on martial arts right now. This Li Fan used internal energy. Isn't this illegal? But he seems to have a military background. Master Zhang cautiously asked from the side. Should we report him? Let's observe for a while. Yang Yi is not an impulsive person. After several failures, he became even more vigilant. When Li Fan returned to the dojo, the sky had just turned dark. Bai Shui was already waiting in the dojo. After giving her some pointers, Li Fan let her go to sleep. Regarding tomorrow's match, Li Fan is very confident. If he can't even do such a small thing, then this dojo of his would have been opened in vain. Lu Wan has already made the bed and is waiting for Li Fan. What's wrong? Didn't everything go smoothly today? Why do you still look unhappy? After hesitating, Lu Wan looked at the youth lying beside her, gently stroked his cheek, and asked, I'm worried about Imperial Concubine Zhou. Worried about her? She's so strong. What's there to worry about? Lu Wan was lying there. Her eyebrows were slightly moist, looking delicate and charming. Well, when she left yesterday, she wasn't normal. Before, Li Fan didn't react. But after thinking about it, he felt that something was wrong. Imperial Concubine Zhou once said that her club is on the right track. Even if she's not there, it can be solved by itself. But yesterday, she suddenly said that something happened in the club and had to go back to deal with it. It really doesn't make sense. Maybe there's an unexpected situation. Lu Wan mischievously pinched Li Fan's nose. You really like to let your imagination run wild. Chapter 1178. The next morning, as promised, the 2 female soldiers stood in the training hall, waiting for the fight between the two. Li Fan stood beside them with his hands in his pockets. He did not wear the training hall's uniform today, but a casual white sportswear. Although the clothes were ordinary, Li Fan's hair was combed short, and he was full of energy. One look, and you could tell that he was not an ordinary person. Dragon Girl and Murong also came out to watch the show instead of playing games. The two girls were very close now, and even liked to wear the same clothes. At this moment, the two girls had their hair tied up in side ponytails, wearing pink dresses and Winnie the Pooh bear slippers. They looked like two sisters standing on the side, sharing snacks. The new year was almost over, and the beginner class had already started. Jiang Yi was in her training hall preparing for today's class. As usual, Lu Xiaohu brought 3 apprentices with him. However, he let the 3 of them come out to observe and learn. For them, every match was a very valuable experience, especially Wang Xiaoran, who had specially brought a small notebook to record. Bai Shui, when we were in the army, your fighting skills were not as good as mine. If you lose today, don't be angry. Zhao Yin stood in front of Bai Shui. The two girls were wearing ordinary camouflage clothes. Why else would it be said that different clothes would give different effects? Some people were clothes hangers, wearing clothes from street stalls. They could wear branded clothes. Others were the opposite, wearing branded clothes, but looked like they just came out of the village. The two girls were completely clothes hangers, and the others wearing camouflage clothes would only look like migrant workers. But these two girls looked capable and charming in their clothes. Bai Shui was slightly taller, while Zhao Yin was slightly shorter. But when she rolled up her sleeves, the muscles on her arms were clearly stronger than Bai Shui. From the looks of it, in normal fights, Bai Shui's strength should be weaker than Zhao Yin, so she would be at a disadvantage. But this time was different. Bai Shui had mastered Fa Gene, so she should have an advantage. I won't. Just come. Bai Shui saw Li Fan's gaze and became confident. She tied up her ponytail again and stared at her opponent with a serious look. All right, let's cut the crap and begin. Li Fan waved his hand, and the two female soldiers moved. Zhao Yin was clearly an offensive player. She pounced forward and attacked White Snow. She grabbed Snow's shoulders with both hands and tried to subdue Snow. But Bai Shui fell backwards, throwing Zhao Yin out. Zhao Yin fell to the ground, but she rolled on the ground and got up. She turned around and lashed out at Bai Shui. Bai Shui was better at defense. She took Zhao Yin's kick head-on. Enduring the pain in her shoulder, she grabbed Zhao Yin's calf and threw her away. Zhao Yin rolled on the ground again, dispelling the force on her body. She climbed back up, adjusted her posture, and looked at Bai Shui. I'm sorry, Zhao Yin. I cannot lose today. As she spoke, White Snow suddenly changed her stance and took the initiative to attack Zhao Yin. The two of them tangled together, blocking each other's attacks at the same time. Zhao Yin chopped down on Bai Shui's neck, while Bai Shui punched Zhao Yin's left ribs. Bai Shui's vision turned black, but she gritted her teeth and endured. After all, they both trained in Qigong, so they had some ability to take hits. Zhao Yin also blocked Bai Shui's palm. Your attacks are still so weak. Before Zhao Yin could finish, a huge force came from Bai Shui's fist. Pooh! Zhao Yin's body trembled, and the camouflage uniform on her back burst open. She spat out a mouthful of blood. She took 2 steps back, clutching her left ribs, and half knelt down. Bai Shui quickly went up to check Zhao Yin's injury. Without saying anything, Li Fan walked up and fed Zhao Yin a rejuvenation pill. He then placed his palm on her abdomen and helped her dissolve the pill. Very quickly, Zhao Yin recovered and wiped the blood from her mouth. I'm sorry, I didn't hold back. Bai Shui kept apologizing to Zhao Yin, but Zhao Yin's expression was complicated and her heart was in turmoil. I lost. After a moment of silence, Zhao Yin finally spoke. I will learn from you. Ah, that's good, that's good. Li Fan laughed. Don't worry, I will only teach you a little technique. Just like how I taught Bai Shui, I only taught her a little force release technique, but didn't she become stronger? As long as she can use this technique flexibly, she will become more and more powerful. I also want to learn force release. Zhao Yin said in her heart. This technique seems to be very useful. In the past, Bai Shui fought with her countless times, but she never won. But today she won. This kind of power, Zhao Yin also wants to learn. Your personality is not suitable for force release. Force release needs to find the most suitable opportunity to subdue the enemy in one move. Li Fan explained, so I intend to teach you Bursting Fist. Bursting Fist? Zhao Yin tilted her head, obviously not understanding. In theory, it is similar to force release. It seems to be a technique that allows one's strength to explode. But Bursting Fist is more direct and more straightforward, very suitable for you to learn. Thank you, officer. Zhao Yin finally agreed, willing to learn from Li Fan. You take a rest first. I have to go out during the day. I will come back to teach you in the evening. If I don't come back at night, I will trouble you two to keep an eye on her. Yes, officer. Both of them agreed, and Li Fan went out with a peace of mind. He directly went to Imperial Concubine Zhou's entertainment club. Along the way, he quickly came to the front of the Ming Dynasty's Dream Building. When Li Fan entered, the receptionist already recognized him and quickly came forward to greet him. Mr. Li, are you here to play today? I am looking for Imperial Concubine Zhou. Ah, the queen is not here today. Oh, what about yesterday? She was also not here yesterday. The other party's answer made Li Fan puzzled. Didn't she say she was going back to the entertainment club? Where did Imperial Concubine Zhou go? Did she say where she was going? Didn't she say she was at your place? The receptionist's answer made Li Fan frown. Mr. Li, is there anything else? It's nothing. You can busy yourself. Li Fan stood in the same place, frowning, thinking about Imperial Concubine Zhou's matter. Sure enough, something happened to this woman. Where did she go? At this moment, a figure came from the side and passed by Li Fan. If you want to know where Imperial Concubine Zhou is, follow me. After this person finished speaking, he walked away. Li Fan looked back at him and observed this figure. He was wearing an ordinary jacket and jeans, looking like a normal person. He turned the corner in front of him and disappeared. Li Fan didn't think much and followed him. Enemy or friend, I will know when I see her. Chapter 1179. The man walked to a corner and disappeared from Li Fan's sight. The surroundings were very quiet, as if the man had never appeared. Li Fan frowned, thought for a while, and decided to follow him to have a look. Whether he was an enemy or a friend, he had to see him. What Li Fan cared about most now was the safety of Imperial Concubine Zhou. Although this woman's martial arts could be said to be unparalleled in the world, Li Fan didn't know why he always felt a little uneasy, as if his heart was pinched. It was still warm in spring in City G. It was drizzling from the sky, and when it patted on the body, it was a little warm. The few pedestrians in the surroundings became even more hurried as they hurried on their way to avoid the rain. The roads soon became wet, and the raindrops fell on the ground, splashing fragile ripples. Li Fan soon found the breath of the mysterious man. He took 2 steps to the side, and sure enough, the man stood across the street, staring at him with a pair of seemingly dull eyes. It seemed that he didn't know martial arts. The raindrops fell on him, and soon his clothes were wet, making him look very embarrassed. And Li Fan stood in the rain, forming a protective net with his true chi, so that the falling rain automatically avoided it. The strength of true chi could be seen at a glance. The man didn't do anything. He just looked at Li Fan for a while, and then turned around and left. Li Fan didn't dare to neglect, and he hurried to follow him. The two of them kept shuttling on the street, one in front of the other. After following him for about half an hour, the man finally walked to the front of the subway station. The rain was getting heavier and heavier, like a torrential downpour. The man had been drenched, but he didn't care at all. He looked back, seemed to take a look at Li Fan, and then walked into the subway station. There were many people in the subway station, and Li Fan was afraid to get lost, so he hurried to follow him. The subway station of City G was overcrowded, and it bore the main transportation capacity of City G. The drenched man kept squeezing in the crowd. Although he didn't know martial arts, he walked freely. Li Fan relied on his true chi to protect his body, and kept following him. But after a while, the man disappeared in front of him. The crowd was huge, bustling with activity as they came and went. Li Fan was at a loss. Where did this guy go? In this vast sea of people, where should she go to find him? Li Fan looked around for a while. There were so many people, and everyone was so unfamiliar. This made Li Fan very annoyed. Moreover, there were too many people around, and their auras were very chaotic. It was extremely difficult to lock onto that person's aura. It was like trying to pick a grain of sand from a pile of rice. It was too difficult. What the fuck? Where did he run off to? Li Fan could only follow the flow of people and take a few steps forward. At this moment, someone suddenly grabbed him and dragged him into the toilet next to them. Don't make a sound. She raised her head and was almost right in front of Li Fan. Wet raindrops flowed down her hair. Only then did Li Fan see the person's face clearly. This handsome appearance was none other than his good brother, Lu Zhu. Yes, before Li Fan could say anything, Lu Zhu had already covered his mouth and peeked outside for a while. He suddenly pulled Li Fan up, walked into a single room next to him, and then closed the door. What are you doing? In this narrow space, Li Fan and Lu Zhu were almost stuck together. He could even feel the moisture on Lu Zhu's body. He was really puzzled and couldn't help but send a voice transmission to Lu Zhu. Someone is following me. Lu Zhu also sent a voice transmission to Li Fan. His eyelashes were blinking. His eyes looked like a woman's. Li Fan muttered, "Where are they from?" "The royal guards." Lu Zhu seemed to be listening to the movements outside. Footsteps could be heard outside. Lu Zhu had Li Fan stand in front of the toilet while he himself squatted on the toilet. The footsteps were getting closer. Soon, Li Fan felt that someone was squatting down and peeking through the gap below. But from below, he could only see Li Fan's feet standing in front of the toilet. The other party didn't seem to suspect anything. Soon, the footsteps faded away as if they were leaving. But Lu Zhu pointed outside the door, seemingly hinting at Li Fan. Li Fan nodded. He suddenly stretched out his hand, smashed the door with a punch, and then grabbed the neck of a man outside the door. Before the man could react, Li Fan had already knocked him out. He deliberately showed mercy and didn't kill him. Li Fan and the royal guards were now in a half-dead state. Both of them had a government background, so no one wanted to be the first to fall out. "Is this the person who chased you?" Li Fan looked at the man in a suit lying on the ground and asked Lu Zhu. Lu Zhu nodded, but his expression didn't relax. "He has companions. They should be searching around." Lu Zhu grabbed Li Fan. "Let's leave. His companions should be here soon." With that, Lu Zhu took Li Fan out of the bathroom and directly went to a nearby subway. The subway door slowly closed. Through the window, Li Fan saw that there seemed to be two men in black suits walking in the direction of the bathroom. "Tell me, what's the situation?" Li Fan and Lu Zhu were squeezed together in the crowd. Looking at Lu Zhu, who was close to him, he was embarrassed to speak, feeling strange. So, Li Fan continued to transmit his voice to him, asking the whole story. "You still don't understand. The royal guards are weakening you." Lu Zhu also transmitted her voice to Li Fan, telling him, "Is that so? These guys finally couldn't hold it in anymore." Li Fan guessed. So they started with Imperial Concubine Zhou first. Yes, Imperial Concubine Zhou is the strongest fighting force in your camp. Lu Zhu's explanation was reasonable. As long as Imperial Concubine Zhou is eliminated, your camp can be said to have a huge loss. That's the reason. But Imperial Concubine Zhou's strength is there, relying on the royal guards. What can they do to her? Li Fan knew how strong Imperial Concubine Zhou was. No matter how strong Imperial Concubine Zhou is, she is only one person. Lu Zhu reminded him, and the royal guards have so many people, and they are unscrupulous. As far as I know, Imperial Concubine Zhou is already in trouble. She's dead? Li Fan's heart jumped. For him, Imperial Concubine Zhou was not only a strong fighting force, but also a female companion. Although this woman was cold and ruthless, once she put her feelings into it, she was as gentle as water. Imperial Concubine Zhou, her thousands of charm, only bloomed for Li Fan. No, she's not dead yet. Imperial Concubine Zhou's physique is special. It's easy to catch her, but it's difficult to kill her. Lu Zhu's answer made Li Fan breathe a sigh of relief, and his worried heart also relaxed. "You led me here. Is it because you know her whereabouts?" Looking at Lu Zhu's eyes, Li Fan immediately asked. "Yes, she's locked up in the Royal Guards branch in G City." Lu Zhu had already inquired clearly. "Tomorrow, she will be escorted to the Seema family. There is no difference between her and death. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.